Hello, everyone. Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Welcome. I know a lot of you are recovering from the club last night or whatever recreational nightlife activities that you participated in. I get it. I remember those days wholeheartedly, and some of them was quite blurry. But for those of you that's entering the building, please smash that like button. Bam! There it is. Saturday morning, afternoon, rather. So I wanted to come on here and just talk a little bit about the Nsac, Nevada State Athletic Commission, and what they returned to an individual who was basically inquiring about Tyson Fury's deformity or irregularities to what we've been watching. So I am looking forward to a certain individual getting on here. He called himself the best there is, like everybody else. So I'm like, don't drop an inbox, don't drop a message to me. And like I'm not gonna accept the smoke. If you want the smoke, just let me know when you plan on coming on, and then we can make it happen. But back to the Nsac. What they basically responded with is the default response, as we all assume, and that was they did not find any irregularities to Tyson Fury's gloves. Their best interest is to protect the health and the well-being of the fighters. So with that narrative given, the same way it always is, default format template, basically telling you in a polite way that nothing's going to happen. So what does this do for the state of boxing? It just confirms what's been going on in the sport for decades. And that is that in certain cases, especially this tech era, where we have the visual insight, we have multimedia, we have so many different platforms of different individuals who are working independently and fighters that are breaking this down the way it's been broken down. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like this. As you saw my caption, my thumbnail, will it be justice? And in this particular case, hearing Nsac come back and voice their response to a boxing fan who was placing multiple inquiries into, the Tyson Fury glove gate, and for them to come back with like a default, a template type response tells me nothing's going to come of it. Nothing's going to come up to the fact that what we see on here is quite different. Yeah, and then the temperature is going to go up a little bit. And I'm going to try my best not to put some people on roll call, because some people love to be on, in front of the screen for views and shit. And some of the titles that they put up here, or some of the arguments that they put up here, is more so to gravitate viewers who are all against the Deontay Wilder fans or whatever. Viewers that are quickly gonna latch on to that particular talking point you have. I mean, that's what we live in. You put a title up here, and then you start seeing people that want to go up here and have something negative to say. And that's just not the media. That's not what I consist of. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to put up a blatant freaking title just so people can come up here and participate in the conversation. And then you look at the title and you're saying, how can they make that comparison? Really, how can you make that comparison to that talking point when it deals with this particular situation? That situation being Tyson Fury's gloves, and more gloves. So you've heard, Steve Cunningham, you heard George Groves. You heard so many people come out with validated videos to talk about this incident. But yet, these same people, right, that are sitting up here debunking it and call themselves the purists, the boxing fans, you know, the best boxing debater out here. You know, they the best freaking media outlet. They the best at everything they do. But one thing that's missing in them talking about this visual that's been out there, all the slides and all the obvious deformities and irregularities to the glove and everything. One thing that you don't hear them say is the fighter guilty of cheating? If he is guilty of cheating, do he have or may he have that same tendency to go out here and harm the well-being of a fighter again? You know what I'm saying? Does he have that mentality to do it again? And the only way as a public as this day and time, because we have a lot of sensitive people, right? The only way in this era that we live in right now is proof. And it's so easy to prove it if they're in front of the lens. Tyson Fury leaving the sport of boxing the first time around was simply for cheating, blatant cheating. Not only him, but his cousin was also caught, you know, dirty. So the fact is now, if you look on Wikipedia and all this other stuff, it's because it was mental illness. And that's a shot at the people who are actually mentally ill too. When you have a person like Tyson Fury that can show out, act like a clown and everything else, doing a press tour, and then come back from a hiatus of being suspended, which he never, hold on for a second. I thought this was the guy that I was talking about that was going to come on, because I haven't really gotten to the deep weeds of what I want to talk about, because I'm trying to wait and see if he come on. But anyway, like I mentioned before, you know, Tyson Fury left the sport. He never defended the belt. I know you all heard that shit before. I heard it too. But I just think when you have fighters, I mean, you have media to come on here or anybody else that want to come on here, right? And they'll look at the video and they say, it's no way. Of course, it's going to be no way, because God didn't allow us to be blessed with reading each other's mind and call them out on the bullshit when it's actually right here in their mental thought process. We wasn't blessed for that. Not all of us, of course. So when I hear them come up here and look at all these slides and they blatantly just ignore the fact that something's wrong, but yet these same individuals tell you how long they've been in boxing. I've been in boxing for this long. I've been covering boxing for this amount of time. Okay, I get it. But it can take someone that hasn't been in boxing to look at something. I'm saying all they could have did in their lifetime is cover the sport of boxing, analyze it, research it, study it, and you can look at it. So then if you take one piece of evidence, what happens? Without a shadow of doubt, right? You have to prove that. So what do? You take one piece of evidence and you compare it to multiple other pieces of evidence to see if there's a trend somewhere, right? So when it comes to this first fight and the rematch that happened February 22nd, there's a plethora of evidence out there to say Tyson Fury wasn't punching the same. He wasn't jabbing the same with other fighters than he was with Deontay Wilder. That is absolutely fact. I don't care who gets on here and says the same thing over and over again about how long they've been in the sport of boxing. They actually box. Okay. But we know that boxing doesn't have a template to join the sport. Be real with yourselves. Boxing never has a template to individuals walking through that turnstile and becoming a boxer. You know what I'm saying? It's no template. So when you start to box, You have different styles. You have some people that complete the composite of that perfect, style, boxer stylistically. You know what I'm saying? Hands up. Then you have some that fight hands down, that throw the jab from their waist. You have some that are sporadic, and work off a lot of movement to keep their opponent constantly guessing. I mean, it's so many styles out there. It's no one style to basically verify someone being a boxer. But when it comes to this particular incident, seeing the way Tyson Fury puts his hand behind his back and comparing him to Deontay Wilder, when he throws, combinations and stuff like that, people would say Tyson Fury has the better boxing skills. But Tyson Fury has his hands down sometime too. But him putting together combinations and comparing him against a boxer like Deontay Wilder, people are going to say, oh, he has the better fundamentals. Okay, I get it. I totally understand where you're going with it when it's comparable to Deontay Wilder. But when it comes to Tyson Fury's style, the video doesn't lie. And that's what we're going to talk about. The video doesn't lie, man. The way he was flicking that jab out there, it's so much video footage of seeing his glove flap back that it's no way, if your hand is inside the glove like that, regardless if you slow it down or not, it's no way your hand flapping back like that, man. And the smart, intelligent people that's putting it out there that it's nothing wrong with it. It's impossible. Nothing's impossible. I heard somebody say the other day that it was impossible to strike someone with the front side of your knuckles. It's impossible. And I'm saying to myself, well, they must not study martial arts, because it's highly possible for you to palm. I'm talking about place your palm to the face and break somebody's nose just off a front jab. It's highly possible. They do it in martial arts all the time. And they do it in boxing. And also, check this out. If you look at the video, you can see Tyson Fury obviously palming Deontay Wilder. His palm is in the face of the champ. Why would you want to ignore that and say, oh, that's just how he boxed? That's just how he boxed. Well, what happened to the tip of the glove to face? What happened to that particular jab? Like, if you want to say you know boxing so much, but what happened to the front side of the glove touching the face of your opponent? When did we get to a point where we just seeing a fighter face palm their opposition? And, Kenny Bayless did nothing about it. Like, you trying to tell me the front side, if I got my hand like this and I can't jab you straight to your face and do damage? I'm telling you, you need to do more research to combat sports, man. And sure, you want to get on here and prove it, fine. You go to there are so many mixed martial arts, the tools and techniques in striking, that it's nothing basic anymore. The game has changed so much that you can just about strike someone with any part of the limbs that you got, from headbutts to elbows, to different ways to turn your fist and strike, however you deliver it. It's so many areas, but I'm gonna tell you one that's not impossible, and that is striking someone head on with the palm of your hand with your knuckles. It's not impossible, people. DBMA, salute to you. Raw Sportsman, what's good? What's good? They say Ben Davis posted a silly post to Twitter, further helping them the Tyson glove gate even more. Yeah, I have that up right now. I just haven't showed it. Nothing he puts out helps Tyson. Wonder if he's doing it intentionally out of spite. I haven't got to that yet, and I haven't even start to get to my shared content, but I appreciate that info, that DBMA, and that is absolutely true. And also, you have to understand about intelligent individuals that's in front of the camera a lot. They will put video out here when they know nothing's going to happen. Ben Davison will put video out like that and send the media, the new media into a fracas so they can then put it on their headlines and give him exposure. That's all that's going on with that. I really don't fall suit to that. But like I said, we live in an era where new media, along the timelines, you would see the same title over and over again. And these people play. They play with us. They play with us. It's puppeteering. You know what I'm saying? They dangle the strings and they sit up here and put stuff out just so they can be on the headlines and get exposure. And I believe that's what Ben Davison did. He put a video out of Tyson Fury jabbing, and he was punching pretty straight to me. His glove looked pretty straight, pretty tight and snug to me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no flicking ass jab with people trying to compare it to Muhammad Ali. If you're comparing that jab of Tyson Fury in 2 fights to Muhammad Ali, well, anybody can take up a certain type of technique for 1 fight. That's why it's called training. That's why it's called looking at the tape, looking at the film study. That's where you can change up some stuff, right? But my point of reference is, how many fights did you see Tyson Fury do it before? Look at the Francisco Pianetta fight. He isn't jabbing like that. Look at the Klitschko fight. He isn't popping the jab out like that. We don't see the gloves pliable, flexing, bending backwards like they were with the Deontay Wilder fight. We're not seeing it. DBMA say, facts, every fight leading up to the Wilder, Tyson barely had any effect on the opposition. In his last fight, which I thought he lost, got busted up real bad. Where was all this power in Wilder too? And I totally grasp, wholeheartedly, man, and my talking points, and what you just said. Like, I totally get it. You can get up here and talk, but then you have individuals that's totally ignoring because they don't like the fighter. Now, that is the dirty, grimy, malice aspect of boxing. When people will ignore something, it's obvious, right? But just because they have contentiousness, not contentiousness, animus towards the fighter, they will refuse to advocate something that is justifiably wrong. They won't do it. They'll just sit up here and say, well, it's no way that can happen. Okay, let's talk. What's no way? His glove. That's just the palm lines. Show me someone who has vertical palm lines. You know what I'm saying? Show me somebody who has vertical palm lines with a fat ass hand like that in the glove. I mean, the pictures are obvious, y'all. The pictures are obvious that the man was cheating again. And the reason why I don't think Nsac is going to do anything about it, right, is because the trilogy is only months away. If everything works out right, the trilogy is months away. We're in March right now. So you're looking at 3 months, April, May, June, give or take, jumping out of fight camp in July, narrowing down to the last few days or whatever. It's only a few months away, man. And it's a lot of money that's involved in it. So for them to conduct investigation, it will have to be something serious. Really, really serious. Because I know I use this a lot about the Antonio Margarita and Sugar Shane Mosley fight. But check this out. If the commission was there, right, and they was able to confiscate the hand wraps Antonio Margarita before the fight, this was before the fight. So if someone couldn't have looked at this set of hand wraps and say, what is that substance on there? They could have canceled the fight right then. They could have canceled it because the hand wraps had a substance on there, a foreign substance that could have been identified as something that was against the rules of hand wraps, period. Because if you add in liquid and any type of foreign substance, guess what? Objects, guess what? It's illegal, right? So they could have stopped the main event right there. But they didn't. All they did was allow the hand wraps to be confiscated. And then they told him to rewrap his hand. And the fight went on. You know why the fight went on? Because it was money involved. It was money involved in the fight. So after the fight was over and Sugar Shane whooped Antonio Margarita's ass and stopped him, then, and not only then, I think a couple of weeks later, they came back with the findings and said the substance was like the plaster of Paris, where the substance get harder with the sweat or water, and it forms like a overlay, and it becomes like cement. So therefore, they suspended Antonio Margarita. But you're trying to tell me a commission couldn't have looked at those gloves, those hand wraps right then and say, what is all this gooey stuff that's in here? No, you're cheating. The fight is over. They could have did that because the commission has eyes, right? They could have made the command decision to say, no, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. He has like a liquid in his hand wraps. So you can't go off just, okay, he has a foreign substance in his hand wraps, but let us allow him to fight anyway because we already corrected the problem. No, the intent was that he was trying to cheat. And look, the way Sugar Shane looks today, you know what I'm saying? He's not the most vibrant individual. Like, imagine if Antonio Margarita would have been successful with those hand wraps, the same way we suggest he was in there with Miguel Cotto. Imagine him going in there with Sugar Shane Mosley like that. Because Sugar Shane survived the beating. Could he have survived if Antonio Margarita was landing those shots with that plaster of Paris inside his wraps? Would we be looking at a Adonis Stevenson all over again with Sugar Shane Mosley? Is it possible? It's highly possible, y'all. Justin Moody say, did they prove he cheated? This is another aspect of media and how we have control over certain platforms and certain tools to get our voice out here on our platform, right? When you say, did they prove? If you listen to anything I said Nsac came back with first of all, thanks for the comment, Justin Moody. And this is not anything directed intentionally or personal, whatever. So Nsac comes back, because I try not to go in on people without fully understanding, because that's what can happen with a text. So let me pump the brakes a little bit. So therefore, if Nsac came back to respond to an inquiry, right, of a fan who was submitting emails, several emails over to them and saying, what about this footage? He was submitting evidence saying it's something that was absolutely wrong with Tyson Fury's gloves. It's not in the standard of boxing, y'all. All I want you to do is look at it. Just look at what I'm giving you. Pay attention and look at what I'm telling you. Something was wrong. So therefore, it prompted Nevada State Athletic Commission to send a reply. And though that reply was pretty much a formality, so to speak, they basically said they didn't find any irregularities pertaining to the situation. And what they are here to do is to look out in the best interest of the fighters. That's not the entire email, but I'm kind of summarizing in a way because it is just a formality in which they responded. That's all it is. They didn't go into strict detail. They just gave him the default. Sorry, we have nothing for you today. Thank you for submitting your input. But as of right now, we're not going to do an investigation because we don't find any irregularities to verify your request. DBMA say facts every fight leading up to the water. I read that. DBMA say all those face palm strikes are illegal, but very effective. There's a fighter that used open hand slaps and palms to knock out his opponents when he fought in the early K1, Sebastian Bashru. And yes, not to sway off the subject, DBMA, you're absolutely correct. That was a form of striking that Bashru used amongst other things, in his days of coming up in the mixed martial arts. And that's a legend of the sport. But, sticking to the moment at hand, though, to kind of verify what you just said about Boss Rutan. In that particular sport, it was legalized. You know what I'm saying? Just what DBMA just said. In that particular sport with Boss Rutan, it was legalized. But in boxing, a palm strike to the face is not a legal strike. Just like a rabbit punch is not a legal strike. You cannot hit an opponent with the backside of your hand or your wrist. You cannot hit an opponent with the palm. Palm strikes are illegal in the sport of boxing. So why is it so difficult for people just to look at this, all the video that's out there, and see Tyson Fury actually jabbing a specific way that leads to question that he was trying to use an advantage to a certain aspect or part of his hand. And that was the palm with his knuckles. And this is my issue, right? Getting back to the new media. New media have the same access, or if not more, that I have. I just don't go through the entire detail of putting together videos and everything, which it would be great to do that. I just don't have time. I have too much going on. But what I do is my research into matters, and then I just kind of do a collective scanning of certain media and what their comparison is to justify if they are on board with what the talking point is as far as Tyson Fury gloves, or they not. And the ones that are not, they have a common trend. They have a trend. And that trend is negative. It's just absolutely negative about the fighter. You know what I'm saying? So if you come to me and you say, well, check this out, World Combat Sports, you say something negative about Tyson Fury. It's not negative if it's true. So therefore, did Tyson Fury cheat? Yes, he did. He has been accused of cheating. He was suspended from the sport and all of that. All right. And then he want to claim his mental illness and all that. Right. That is not saying anything negative. That is stating a fact. Now, when it comes to Deontay Wilder and people that's trying to advocate against or trying to refute that anything that he would have did that night would have been, pointless, because he was losing the fight. He got beat up and the fight was stopped in the 7th round. I totally get what you're saying. But when you start sitting up here criticizing, discrediting him for having the 42 victories that he earned, discrediting his Olympic bronze medal that he earned, discrediting everything he did as a fighter. I was looking at a video of an individual that was calling Deontay Wilder a bum. And then when the person mentioned the Olympics and the lack of training that he had leading up to it, that person was still saying, man, that don't mean shit. Okay, so if you consider yourself, now this is a person who supposedly trained in the sport of boxing. He's saying, if I wouldn't have did this and this, I would be up there too. See, I can't respect what he's saying, because he's ignoring the fact of the amateur, lineage that was put in, the hard work. And for him to have that short period of training to his resume and to go through the Olympics and not have an easy go. He was struggling. You know what I'm saying? You see the fight with him against Romanov. He was struggling, but he still was able to get a bronze medal. He was still in the top 3 standing on the Olympic standard, right? So you have this guy saying Deontay Wilder is a bum and his 42 victories means nothing. But yet this guy, he is unable to amass a respectable professional record so people can look at him as being one of the best in the world. So that's what I'm saying about the hate. The pure, unadulterated hate that someone would have towards another fighter because of whatever reason. And the wild thing about it is, this is not happy hour when we talking over some shots. You know what I'm saying? We just having a sip, having a drink, or smoking. I mean, I don't smoke, but you know what I'm saying? Just smoking and chilling, right? This is individuals who are making these comments sober. They are angry. They are absolutely angry. They're sitting up here criticizing this man like he ain't a father, like he ain't a human being, nothing. Everything they got to say is just pure hatred. They are advocating for a fighter. A lot of these individuals, look, neither one of them, just say the person that's putting out all this, denial, right? Just say they never met Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So we keep the slate clean, right? Then you take these individuals who start advocating for Tyson Fury, never met the man. But then when they start projecting all these arrows of hate towards Wilder, you're like, how can you be that angry, personified towards a person you never met? How can you say he classless? How can you say the man is a bum? How can you take an Olympian and jettison the fact that he actually went through the grind, the gutter, the trenches to try to, earn a boxing career to support his daughter? How can you sit up here and just exclude him as a human being in life? But you're the same motherfuckers that get up here and put inspirational quotes when you're having a bad day, right? Like, you talk about how many people in your circle that's doing you wrong, or you talk about the sport of boxing and how it treats the fighters, all wrong, or you come up here with just these analogies, man, about everybody's doing you wrong or how hard it is to make it in life. But you're sitting up here vilifying a person who has went to combat. Not only went to combat, he earned a bronze medal. And you just dogging the man out because you advocating for Tyson Fury. You advocating for a guy you ain't never met, man. DBM say no one's let anyone affect that dollar, not even the fight. I guess that's why the main participants are silent. Get the money first, investigate later. And that's what it looks like is going to happen. That's a solid point, man. Life, love, salute. They hate Wilder because he is a powerful black man, bomb squad to this day. Yeah, man, a lot of people are just the anger that's pierced, like they try to drive it to the heart of Wilder. Because how can you say, comments such as that? How can you be so hurtful and say, God damn, you're talking about this man's personal life. Like, they talking about your personal life and you're a fighter. Like, listen, this is all from a fighter. In one contradiction, we haven't heard Deontay Wilder come out and make a statement about the situation, right? He haven't really spoke on the glove situation. And once again, dealing with these idiots, right? The intelligent people that keep their brain in park, right? They're sitting up here, not even giving him the credit for not being a whiner, not being a complainer, and sitting up here talking about the glove situation. He's just been chilling. Not only that, the mainstream media ran with the freaking uniform, right? And that's when he was talking to somebody in a sidebar conversation. Once again, they ran with it and said, how can Deontay Wilder be making an excuse for the uniform? That's the worst excuse ever. Stephen A. Smith can't. Oh, that's the worst excuse. I have to tell you, that's the dumbest excuse, blah, blah, blah. But when does it get to a point where you're actually listening to what you're saying? Like, the man is not even out here behind the mic. He's not even freaking making any damn word on the glove situation. If you look at the fight, he's not even trying to get Kenny Bayless' attention as to the palms to the face. Tyson Fury put him in the headlock. He's not doing any of that shit. He's just in there fighting for his life. He's fighting for his goddamn belt. He is the champion defending. He is the reigning defending champion. You get these cowards on here and they sit up here and ignore the fact that the champ is not even complaining. He's not even complaining. He hasn't even came out. You have people say, well, he hasn't came out here, but man, all these Wilder fanboys. So what the fuck are you doing? If everybody who support Wilder is a fanboy, so what the fuck are you doing for Tyson Fury? You up here, you know, you got the torches blazing like it's the motherfucking Olympics coming up, and you want to pass the torch from damn platform to platform. And the ones who support one another, they want to caveat and clip their content and post it on their platforms, right? You're talking about how they the best at this and they're undefeated and all this other shit. But what you're not saying is Deontay Wilder hasn't even been out here talking about it. He hasn't said nothing about the gloves. He didn't say nothing about the uniform. He ain't said nothing about really losing his belt, except the king will rise again and he'll be back. But all the ones that's up here for Tyson Fury, it should be some type of shame in what you're doing, because you're advocating for a known cheater. You're doing it in such a way that you're excluding, you're wiping his shit clean from the past of him only having the IBF title for 10 days and him being stripped of the title and then vacating the others and leaving the sport, all because he want to say it was a mental illness now. So every time he put coke in his nose, right, it was mental illness. If that's what we got to do, man, that is easy work. That's easy work if you're just saying that's all we got to do. But you know, all of us don't have that platform, right, to get a PR team, you know, call up ESPN, call up freaking BT Sport, call up everybody, and then come back because money is running low and say, oh, I left the sport because of mental illness. I mean, you expect so much from age-appropriate competence, don't you? We expect so much from one another. But the disappointment come in where you're advocating for a known cheater, all because it feels good to you, and you want to vilify Deontay Wilder, who, you know, I've said several times before, man, when you get personal, I'm like, God damn. I mean, I seen the man do interviews in a regional level freaking auditorium. I seen him take pictures. You know, I seen him up there talking to fans and all that shit. I ain't making this shit up. I mean, where's all this arrogance? Like, you see the man communicating with fans and shit. Like, you see him communicating. But they talking about this man like he garbage. Like, he ain't shit to his family. He ain't shit for society. He ain't shit to boxing. That's my main point. That's why people are ignoring the fact of the glove gate. That's why people are not trying to investigate it. Nelson, what's good, man? Salute World Combat Sports. Salute to you, man. DBMA say, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's illegal to use a strike in boxing. Has anyone noticed how quiet Fury's been? We do know. We do know. We are very aware. But, you know, listen, when you're Tyson Fury, who is very good at playing those games with the public, why would he come out here and say anything? You have so many gullible, misguided, blinded voices out here advocating for Fury. He doesn't have to come out and say anything. He'll just let these media continue to put together videos and speak on his behalf. I mean, that's what he's doing. Tyson Fury ain't worried about coming out here speaking. We got so many people that's out here doing it for him. He said, I'm gonna sit back in the cut. And then if you think him and Ben Davison don't talk, man, you're sadly mistaken. If you think the team aspect of him splitting up, you know, just before Sugar Hill Stewart took over for this last fight with Deontay Wilder, you're sadly mistaken. Man, come on, they communicate, bro. Like us, DBMA say it's mostly used in martial arts K1 sort of events. Yeah, when K1 was active, they allowed various strikes to be used over there. You know, kicks to the head when the opponents was down. I'm talking about brutal kicks to the head, where a lot of those competitors over there still facing those internal repercussions to this day, man, from being kicked and impacted by shin to head, soccer ball kick like that. But since then the rules have changed, and it was a lot that was going on. Even headbutts was allowed as certain rules back then in mixed martial arts. But back to Tyson Fury, who has a family of bare knuckle lineage, right? If a person isn't trying to really identify another sport outside of boxing, how are they going to speak on it? If you're not going to identify the layers of martial arts, how are you going to freaking speak on what's been going on with Tyson Fury palm striking Deontay Wilder? You're not. You're just going to look at it like, whatever. It's just a bunch of Wilder fanboys. They're just up here talking. And that's not the case. How can you support Tyson Fury, who went up here and actually fought the Krispy Kreme of opponents? I'm talking about nice glaze on top too. I'm talking about the type of glaze for Tyson Fury where he was picking up Sefer Seferi and rocking him like a little baby. And then after the fight, just gave him a nice little wet kiss. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine? Could you imagine, people, if Deontay Wilder would have did that? Could you imagine if Deontay Wilder would have did what Tyson Fury was able to do? Let's just go from step one. Could you imagine him stepping in there with 4 opponents? The Sefer Seferis, Francisco Pianettas, the Tom Schwartz, and Otto Wilder. Could you imagine if Deontay Wilder would have been the one that was trying to contend for Tyson Fury's belt? Just say he was a WBC champ, and he fought 2 soft touches like Seferi and Pianetta, and then stepped in there and went the distance with Fury. People will be like, huh? Did you see what Fury was able to do to him in the 12th round? That dude doesn't deserve to step back in the ring. Did you see what Fury did to him? He knocked him down in the 12th. He got a long count. He don't deserve to be back in the ring for a title shot. He don't deserve it. So therefore, Deontay Wilder refused the immediate rematch. So Deontay leaves. He faces Schwartz and Otto Wilder and gets cut. See, that further proves that his skill set isn't where it's supposed to be. And look how bad he was cut against Otto Wilder. And then Deontay Wilder tends to go to WWE. Oh, look at this clown. He going over to the WWE. He's wrestling a wrestler. He don't give a fuck about boxing. You know what I'm saying? Stop showing this guy so much love. He went up here and fought 2 more donuts and then went over to WWE, and he's up there playing around in there. He isn't taking boxing serious. Y'all need to understand that. But no. Let it be Tyson Fury. Oh, man, he's multi-talented. He's multi-talented, y'all. The dude is just good for TV. Him not taking a rematch is his choice. Not yours. It's his choice. It's Tyson Fury's choice. Let him be. The man's been through a lot. He came back and lost 600 stones. You know, it may have been 833 stones. Who knows? But allow Tyson Fury to live his life. He's been through enough. The time out of the sport was a deep, dark time for him. He went through so much. So much. The average man would have not been able to get through what Tyson Fury was able to get through. So you all should be praising this man for gracing the sport once again. That's what they say, man. It's just hilarious. If that would have been Deontay Wilder taking that same route and he was knocked down in the 12th round, and then he refused to take the immediate rematch, that right there would have said what? He doesn't deserve a rematch. He's scared. He's ducking. He's doing anything and everything not to step back in there with Tyson Fury, who's the champion. Tyson Fury should go on to face Anthony Joshua. Please, Fury, face Anthony Joshua. Don't fight Deontay Wilder again because he just don't deserve it. That would have been the narrative if the title was in the hands of Tyson Fury and that was Deontay Wilder fighting Sefer Seferi. Now look at what his community has been doing. And I'm talking about his community because I'm black. I can report on what I see. But imagine if Deontay Wilder would have picked Sefer Seferi up and rocked him like a little baby and playing around with him. Imagine if Wilder would have leaned over and gave another man a kiss in the ring. How would his own people would have still been talking about that to this day? To this day, to this day, they would have been talking about that. They would have been talking in front of him, behind his back. Any given time, they would have said, well, what you think about him, giving Seferi a wet one post-fight? What do you think about that? I don't know, man. I expected more from Wilder. I just don't gather where he's going with this. Why would he do that? His girl was sitting ringside and everything. Like, what is that about? But Tyson Fury does it, and people look at it like, oh, that's just the way the Brit is. He's a nice guy. I mean, don't read too much into it. I mean, for God's sake, don't call him a bloke because he's just showing some hospitality. He's a nice guy. Him leaning over and giving another grown man a kiss with his girl sitting ringside. There's nothing wrong with that. That's showing just genuine love for your opposition, your opponent. Just don't be so hasty to hate this man. Come on. Deontay Wilder never would have been able to walk in the company of his people if he would have did something like that. They would have vilified this man to a burning cross, man, a virtual burning cross. They wouldn't have showed this man absolutely no freaking forgiveness or anything. He would have been in the public and people always, the only thing they would have seen was, man, why did he do that? If he would have did that to Luis Ortiz, could you only imagine what the headlines would have been? But don't nobody talk about that shit. Like, don't nobody talk about what you all give a pass to with the neighboring fighters outside of their lack of performance. Because I looked at all the fights from Seferi to Pianetta. I did not see that jab, y'all. I looked at the damn Tom scores. I did not see that jab. I did not see the pliability. I did not see the distortion of the glove bending backwards 90 degrees like it did with Deontay Wilder. I didn't see it. I didn't see it with Otto Wallin. How are you going to get cut up with Otto Wallin and you come in here and you all of a sudden this power puncher because you hired Sugar Hill Stewart? Boxing doesn't work that way. If you're going to say Deontay Wilder is laid down all his opponents, then he has a good foundation of a body of work that you can look back and say he's a power puncher. He's a knockout artist, right? But then you look at Tyson Fury, you can't say that. You can't say Tyson Fury is a knockout artist. All because he tightened up some technique and he was the one that was pressuring Deontay Wilder. You cannot say that shit. Because Otto Wallin ranked 65th is no Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder go in there and fight Otto Wilder, he gets slapped. Tyson Fury fights Otto Wilder, suffers a cut, refused to rematch. Refused to just acknowledge that his performance sucked. So he goes over there to wrestling for a little bit. And then he finally comes back. And he has a different game plan. Kudos to him. He fought superbly. M. Greg, what's good? Appreciate. Thanks for putting that out there. Smash the like button. Like button smash. Eric Jenkins, World Combat Sports. Salute to you, Eric. M. Greg say shout out to the chat room. M. Greg say it's a double standard when it comes to certain people. Eric Jenkins, if it is gloves kissing opposition, Wilder would call everything under the sun. And that's one of the points I'm trying to make, because I just don't hear, Jenkins, I just don't hear the other media saying anything about what's obvious. It's not pinpointing one specific group. I'm just saying, do you understand all the cloud of hatred and criticism and the way they excoriating Wilder in the media, right? All from losing his belt and him talking with a sidebar and saying something about his uniform, right? But imagine if Deontay Wilder would have leaned over and did that to Safari or Luis Ortiz. Imagine what his own people would have did then. There's a problem. There's a stigma. Seriously, there's a stigma that you hold your own people to, but you would sit up here and give a absolute easy pass to those on the outside just because you feel that's something they do in their country. No, man. People will sit up here and put petitions in. Well, we don't think that particular behavior was something that we can accommodate anymore. We don't want to go pay to see a fighter assault another fighter by leaning in and kissing him when he surely didn't, he had like he did not want it to happen. They would come up, man. I know I'm clowning, but they would come up with the worst scenarios. Like, you can obviously see Deontay was forcing it. And what is going on? We're here to see a boxing match, and he's sitting up there, just picking up fighters, kissing fighters. I mean, isn't that like an assault? What is he doing? Is he a predator? But Tyson Fury goes over there and do it, and people's like, oh, how, man, look at that. That is so warm. It takes me to Christmas. It's really just so nice on how he shows hospitality and genuine affection to his opponents. It's bullshit. That's what it is. DBM, they say it's called hate. Everybody seems scared to say it, but that's what it is. And you know what kind. It is, man. You know one thing I know about this DBMA, right? And people that's tuned in, it's not a crime to understand, if you really follow boxing, that in certain scenarios it's absolutely wrong. It's like, for whatever reason, politics plays a role, it's wrong. We know it. It's absolutely wrong, right? We know it. And then there's certain aspects when it comes to fighters that is racism. Now, I'm talking about not just racism from a different ethnicity. We're talking about internal racism with our own freaking race. And don't say it's not possible. It's possible. It's possible. You can't say a white person said this about you and then a black person said the same thing. So you saying that about your own people? Yeah, I'm saying that about my own people. What is it called? Criticism versus racism? No, man. You have a lot of black people that don't like black people. You have a lot of black people that love the company of white people because they feel that the acceptance part of it is much more of a comfort zone for them. It's something they acclimated to, and they can go through life understanding how that all works out. When it comes to boxing, we all know racism plays a role in certain aspects of the sport. Man, come on. Don't act like it's something you never heard. But in this particular fight with Fury and Wilder, more so of the comments, and when it comes to anything to deal with divide, prejudice, discrimination, it's more so coming in the aftermath of what happened, not from the fighters. And then if you're so deep in boxing, then you can kind of be like, was it meant for Deontay Wilder to lose his belt? That's not something you want to dive into unless you really know what the hell you're talking about. You just can't dive into it and say, well, I know this for a fact. He was going to lose his belt. It was destined. It was written. He was going to lose his belt through the politics that be in boxing. But then in the aftermath is what I'm talking about. You have people comparing the jab of Tyson Fury to that of Muhammad Ali. When I haven't seen no one zoom in on a freaking frame of Muhammad Ali glove bending back like that. Man, I'm telling you, get a pair of new. Look, once again, the facts, right? I don't have to go through here and freaking put videos together all day. But check this out. Get a pair of brand new gloves. Get a pair of brand new gloves and just slide your hand up in there. Just say around the area where Tyson Fury was supposed to have his hand, like in the wrist. All right. And flick your hand back on them fresh gloves that's straight out the FedEx package. Go ahead. Put your hand in a pair of gloves and pop the jab out like that. I mean, do it with conviction. And make sure you have health care, because you might try so much that you might fracture your wrist. You might have something, you might, hyperextend your joint in your elbow or something like that. But try to flick the glove out and see if it waves back and forth like that. Just see if it's possible. Because all the Mayweather school or the Mayweather gym, the way they was punching is not something they understand. Because anybody knows, if you want a palm strike in martial arts, Krav Maga, Taekwondo, karate, Kempo, it's just so many hand-to-hand combat that a palm strike to the face is a daily tool. It's just like a common fundamental. To the nose. It's just, even in the military doing our combat training, the belt system that we had. I mean, palm strikes to the throat, to the nose, to any part to disable your opponent is at your disposal. Real talk. So to say it's no way that you can put on a glove and palm strike somebody is lunacy, man. It's absolutely lunacy. Eric Jenkins said, WCS, this is a strategy of those on top. They will feed the public whatever they don't, whatever, and don't care. Key, don't care. I agree, man. Them not caring, not giving a damn about a fighter they don't like. And that's what I was saying earlier. They don't like the man. So how are you going to advocate for him? How are you going to vouch for a person that you don't like? How is that? I just can't be that person. Like, seriously. I've ran into a fight. I ran into a couple of fighters, right? That a straight up ass. They act a certain way for no reason. And believe me, I'm not going to continue to run up and try to get an interview with them knowing how they are as a person. It's just not something I'm going to do. Because if you're going to turn me down 5 or 6 or 7 times and we never really had a conversation, then that's something you need to work out for yourself. And you know exactly who I'm talking about too. Tone, salute, man. What's good? What's good? He said, you also got these skin bleaching apologists, African bootlicks out here doing master's bidding. He said, apologist, African bootlicks. That's keeping it light. You know what I'm saying? People need to understand. Don't get mad when black people talk about black people. We're our own. Hey, we're in our own circle, man. We embrace what we know to be true. We embrace it differently. Some people embrace it like you reaching out and giving a cactus a hug. That type of embracing. You know what I'm saying? And some people love the pain of those type of hugs. They continue to put themselves in that situation. You want to hug a cactus and knowing what you're going to get from it, but you continue to do the same shit all the time. That might be a far off freaking analogy, but that's what I do, man. Like, we have some of my people love to just hold on to a cactus. They love the pain. They love the torment. Seriously. They love it. And then you have some people who are genuine people, good, solid. You can pretty much, talk to them about anything and they will give you an honest assessment. And then when you see them in public, they're pretty good people to be around. But the ones like he's talking about, the bootleg, so to speak, it's many out here that believe that associating themselves with someone else outside of their ethnicity is cool, especially in the sport of boxing, right? Like I mentioned always, you know, you have billions in the populace, right? You have billions of people, but you only have a collective few of mainstream media that's out here on YouTube that's covering the sport of boxing. Boxing has been around forever. And you say to yourself, why isn't it more people out here covering the sport of boxing? Why? So then you look at the main groups who's covering boxing, and a lot of these groups are blacks. A lot of them are blacks. I mean, black independent media. Not all of them, but a lot of them are black, excluding the UK media, you know, that's out here. I'm just saying, a lot of the media that cover boxing is black. But that doesn't mean it's a bonded unity with us just growing the sport to a whole nother level. Like, it's a lot that can be done if all these media groups actually got together and attended a fight periodically here and there. Something what I did already in New York. I've actually sat down with media and had like a round table just to talk about different subjects of boxing. I did that. Shout out to Jackal Fitness AWD. You know what I'm saying? Official. I sat down and wanted to talk about different topics of boxing. It would be good if you had some of the local media that's on here meet at one of the big cards and we had a sat down. I believe everybody's platform would grow. Everybody's platform would grow that much exponentially. Why? Because they have an understanding of how you operate in a freaking setting with your peers. And you might say, that ain't my peer. It is your peer, man. You're doing boxing media. It's your freaking peer. I don't give a fuck how old you are. Sit down with all these groups and have a boxing conversation. We're not talking about people that's calling each other names. We're talking about, okay, the first topic of discussion is this. And you just start having boxing conversations. I think the public in general, and don't think people ain't listening. I already did it. It just wasn't that big. But don't think people's like saying, damn, that's a good idea. Could you imagine that popping off, having a summit 2 to 3 times a year, right? And having these boxing groups on here have FaceTime with one another. And it's not a FaceTime for World Combat Sports to talk to another media about something they said, unless enough time was allotted. But when you go mainstream, they don't want to hear about back and forth, who knows more about boxing or whatever. All you have to do is pick some talking points and allow for a collective group of voices that cover the sport to speak on it in a round table. Then you won't have individuals that's unaware of who you are. They will know who everybody is. You know why? Because they just seen us in this round table. They've seen us already. Everybody gets their opportunity to speak and be a part of the conversation. Of course, you know, there will be organization and the topics will be, delegated from one person, you know, the talking points, and then you take it from there. And believe me when I tell you, people, this particular format will be absolutely conducive to the sport of boxing. Believe me when I tell you. And if some of y'all want to do it, if y'all want to meet up at a big fight card that's coming up, just inbox me. Let me know. Record it. And you can have, of course, it's going to be people saying, I need this footage. Who cares who get the footage? You know what I'm saying? The whole point is everybody's going to have this footage out there of all the primary boxing platforms that's out here on YouTube every freaking day. Whether you like each other or not, you can basically sit down at a round table and speak about some past fights, some current fights, some current state of boxing, all of that. You can sit there and be across from those individuals that you see every day on YouTube. Y'all better think about that shit, man. DBMA said, yeah, I made that point before to someone Wilder losing that belt, and the whole media turned on him because it made them look stupid. Probably lost a couple of house notes betting too. William Old School, what's good, man? Salute to you. What's good? What's good, man? I'm glad you're back on because we can continue that Muhammad Ali thing from last time there, William. Yeah, but y'all think about that because the daily format on here is YouTube is everybody for themselves. They come up with the content, right? They come up with the content, they post it, they have people viewing, but yet the whole isolation process is what they see. They just see one platform and a group of people. If they have co-hosts, they talking about the same, they talking about whatever the talking point is, right? But what, once again, being in the military, being a guy who, as a teenager, I was a general's briefer on future and current operations, real world operations of the military. I'm talking about people dying in foreign countries, military operations into foreign countries, right? And don't ask me how I got it. You won't believe how I did it. But anyway, I didn't request it. But I used to be a general's briefer where I was able to get certain photos and stuff like that and content and intel. And I had to put together a slideshow and go up here and brief a room full of officers, not enlisted officers. And at the time I was freaking enlisted. But the reason why I'm saying it is that when you're in a room with your peers, you always have a different set of opinions and responses that people are going to give you. And if they see those familiar faces that they see on YouTube all the time, I think it will absolutely grow the sport much better on this social media platform because they're being able to see and witness. You have a dialogue, a conversation, an open topic of discussion with the same people that's out here putting together content and distributing it. They get to see you all interact with one another. They get to see who's able to come up with solutions, come up with answers, opinionated responses. They see how you communicate and exist amongst your peers. That's big. I just think it'll do a lot for social media boxing, for real. I think it'll do a lot. I think it would do a whole hell of a lot if we actually had like 2 or 3 times a year, these boxing groups get together. And I guarantee you the social media platform will go to a whole different level. Because they will remember. It's different from people seeing the Stephen A. Smiths, the Max Kellermans, you know what I'm saying? And identifying, the Andre Wards and Timothy Bradleys, you know what I'm saying? Paulie Malignaggi, all these people talking at the same time. But what about the mainstream media? You talk about new media, old media all the time. So what about the new media? New media isn't getting together on a consistent basis like the old media and talking about boxing. We can do just about the same damn thing. We can. It just requires certain aspects of people meeting up at a big fight and having a conversation and talking about certain topics of boxing. It will take this social media platform to a whole nother level for everybody. It will give a different view of what people perceive about boxing, hearing it from different voices that they see every day, but they never met. You know what I'm saying? Just something for you all to think about. There's something for you all to think about, man. Mother Nature constantly shut me down. That's what happened when you do billboards. Dang. All right, that's what's up, billboards. Yeah, that ain't no easy job, man. So what's the deal with the gloves? Salute to you, Don Dada. What I mentioned earlier about the gloves is just this. Nsac returned the response to a boxing fan who was submitting several inquiries about the situation dealing with the gloves. And they were, and his whole point was, what are you going to do about it? What is going to be your point of action? Are you going to do anything if at all, right? And their response was, basically, in a nutshell, really short form, is that they didn't find any irregularities to what he was talking about, to Tyson Fury's gloves. But yet they did mention to the attachment that they're looking out for the best interest, the health and well-being of the fighters. And we all know that's like a default answer. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? We all know where that comes from, man. You know, we're looking out for the health and the best interests of the fighters, but yet we're not going to investigate. We're not going to investigate what we're seeing out here also. What potentially may look like a fighter is cheating, but yet and still, since the fight has passed, it's February 22nd, NAN's March 14th, what can they determine from this? It's not like Antonio Margarita's hand wraps. The substance was there. So they confiscated it and they was going to find the evidence. With this particular glove situation, it's a physical manipulation. You know what I'm saying? It's a physical manipulation. And if you look at the video, you clearly see the glove is up, extended above the bottom part of the hand wraps. I mean, it doesn't take anybody with glasses to know that. Like, the glove was up. And then now, you know, Ricky Hatton is shown pulling the glove down. I mean, what more do you want, man? You know, the company that you keep. Ricky Hatton, you know, he's known for the same. I mean, come on, man. Come on. People are going to continue to ignore the obvious. Ignore the damn obvious that is something terribly wrong with the form-fitting glove, the left glove of Tyson Fury. And I was waiting for, you know, my friend to get on here so we can have this conversation. But I guess they decided otherwise. You know, that's one thing you don't hear from World Combat Sports. I don't sit up here and say all the best this, best that. I hear so many people talking about, can't nobody do anything. I boxed in the game. Okay, you may have boxed. I understand. You may be a boxer and you may, you know, go to the ring periodically and do what you got to do. I totally understand it. But when it comes to a debate, it's all about perspective. That's all. If you can validate your perspective, that's all you have to do. You don't have to be a boxer to validate something about boxing. It's certain parts of your knowledge that's going to exceed someone who may not have that knowledge of being in the ring, okay? But when it comes down to the obvious on what we're looking at with Tyson Fury's gloves, you don't have to be a boxer to say, you know, I've been following the sport for quite some time. I really haven't seen gloves break backwards like that. I really never seen it. I really never seen any of the footage that I can mirror up. Like, I can give you 20 clips of different fighters who are popping the jab and their glove is bending back like that. That is not the case here. And that's all I'm trying to say. That is indeed not the case with this particular matter right here. It isn't, people. I can tell you what it is. Denial. Denial is first and foremost at the forefront. People ignoring the fact that the glove is different, that the fitting is different. Look at his fight with Klitschko. Look at the fight. Look at his gloves with Klitschko. You don't see any of that. He's not even freaking punching. He's not even jabbing Klitschko the same. Facts. Look at the way he's fighting Pianetta. Look at the way he fought Safari. I'm talking about all the fights that he's did since his return. That's what's important. Look at it. Don't give me a goddamn video of Muhammad Ali popping the jab out there and say, you know what, they talking about flicking the jab. No, motherfucker, we talking about how his glove looked, the equipment on how it looked when he was flicking the jab out there. He can goddamn flick the jab all he want. But we're talking about the equipment that is attached to his hand. The equipment to protect the fighter. A glove is there to protect the fighter. That's another casual misinterpretation. The glove is on the hand to protect the fighter. So when you manipulate the gloves, Panama Louis Resto, then you have potentially a higher percentage of hurting the fighter. Right? That's what the glove is there for, to protect the fighter. You take the glove off, it becomes bare knuckles. I've been to bare knuckle fights where in the first round, the fighter's cut. Talking with Lance Palmer, the two-time PFL mixed martial arts champion, he was telling me about how the format is different from the UFC. If you have an opponent in the UFC and you put them on their back, you're allowed to land elbow strikes from the top position, right? Not in the PFL, because PFL is a tournament-based competition. So therefore, if Lance was able to do his patented double leg takedown, put his opponent on the back, he cannot land strikes. And it's even one time during his fight where his father was telling him to drop elbows, right? And someone had to tell him elbows are not allowed in the PFL. That's what I'm talking about. People just not understanding about what the glove is there to do. If you have extracted padding or you have somehow manipulated the fit to the point where you can land a strike a different way to hurt your opponent, we're talking about heavyweight, right? Y'all always want to talk about heavyweights. If you mention heavyweights, don't you think the power of someone palm striking? I mean, let's just frame it though. When Deontay Wilder was in the corner and you see Tyson Fury palm striking, like his glove is up on the face. This is in the 7th round. His glove is up on the face of Deontay Wilder. And people are just looking at that like, that's just boxing. That's just boxing. He just put his hand out there to measure distance for the right hand. That's all he did. Why are y'all making such a big deal? But palm strikes are illegal. He wasn't palm striking him. He just placed his hand over the eyes of Deontay Wilder so he can hit him with the right hand. That's what people are saying. I expect more from you. Seriously, I do. I expect more. What's going on, Line Killer? Salute to you. DBMA smashed the light. Dundala say, did Sugar Hill tell his fighter to go dirty last night? See, once again, you talking about his fighter Guerrero, right? It was Guerrero, right? Yeah, I think Guerrero was his fighter. I don't put too much emphasis. Look, Sugar Hill kind of lost my attention when he came on here on the Boxing Voice, and Ness. I'm telling you, Ness been fully clipped. Ness been fully loaded lately, man, and he's the one that's been pushing this glove issue too. And I remember, when I was talking about it amongst a couple of other outlets, people running around here like motherfucking rebels, like vigilantes and shit. Like we're talking about something that you can't see for your own eyes. But I will give it up to, Ness, the Boxing Voice. He's been consistent on talking about this situation. He has. He's been consistent. But when Sugar Hill came on there the other day, he's up there saying that Ness put him on the spot like he's reading from a fan. That's what I like about the indirectness. Like he's reading questions from fans, right? And a fan asked about, the situation with the video going black. Oh, I ain't know nothing about that. I was looking at TV. Well, isn't the TV on the fighters? Like, isn't it? When you see if somebody's unplugging the video back there, aren't you attentive to that? And then he asked him about the current Tyson Fury glove situation. His response was default. The commission and inspectors was there. That's what he said. I was disappointed in him saying just basic default answers as if he didn't care about the fans' perspective. And he may indeed don't give a damn about what we think. But the answer that he's given was like a slap in the face. It's like, fuck everything else, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to answer these people. You got to just do a bit more than that, man. If you're the trainer, you have to do a lot more than that, man. Mellow the God, salute to you. First time I'm seeing you on deck. Mellow the God say Tyson ain't flicking the jab. Tyson ain't flicking the jab. He's flapping the glove with backhand disguised as a jab. And once again, hitting the fighter with the backhand is illegal, just as it's illegal to palm strike, just as it's illegal to hit with the wrist. All that is illegal. So when people saying he's just flicking a jab out there, they making it seem like that's totally illegal strike. Now, if he touching with the front part of the glove, cool. But if he's flicking the jab out there and his glove is bending backwards, and you all don't see anything wrong with that, thanks for the comment there, Mello, for sure. Don Dollar said the guy who got knocked down and won. Yeah, I think that was Angulo against Guerrero, I believe. I think that was. I'm not for sure. I think so. Don Dollar say we were watching TV when we seen it go black. Yeah, Joe Tessitore made mention of that. And then he said, oh, look at that. It's going black. You know what I'm saying? I mean, does that supposed to happen? That's not a glove incident, right? But does that supposed to happen? Somebody said something to the point where I forgot what it was, that it's the network or whatever the case may be. But shout out to Lion Killer, man. Thanks for the donation. They say World Combat Sports keep the great combat sports content coming to those who seek a balanced approach to their online sports. I don't agree with the glove gate, but I know your vantage comes from a real place. I appreciate that, Lion Killer, real talk. And, talking about a real one, he helped me out early on, man, when I was just getting my channel, to my genuine people. I appreciate that, man. You ain't going to get too many people to help you out genuinely and to grow your channel and everything. People want to think, oh, 1 or 2 likes, 10 or 15 views, that's going to affect the whole channel. No, man, shout out to the Lion Killer, man. Absolutely appreciate the donation. Real talk. Don Dollar say DBMA, LOL. What's up with the line? That's what's up, Lion Killer. Don Dollar say salute. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thanks. You know what it is, my brother. So hopefully now the Nsac is not going to do anything about it. Like I said before, it would be good if we can just have a roundtable discussion. And man, it'll be such a good topic because you have you have 2 sides. You have, just like Lion Killer mentioned, he's not on board with the glove gate. I'm on board with the glove gate. You take all these collective voices, man, put them together at the round table and get people's opinion, have a discussion. Of course, there's going to be some bickering, here and there, but still organization, you know what I'm saying? And I think it'll be very conducive to the boxing public. Seriously, like a lot of these freaking boxing groups that's on here right now, if we were to be able to meet for a roundtable discussion, it'll be great. Because I know some know more than others, right? And then behind the screen, like I'm doing now, they have a comfort zone of not being held accountable for too much. So you can pretty much take your content and you can put it out there and do what you want. But in a discussion, you're going to have multiple eyeballs and ears around you. So if you come out your mouth talking crazy, I'm pretty sure it's going to be other people there to say, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you saying? You can't believe what you're just saying. Like all the people that saying, Deontay Wilder's entire career is freaking garbage. You say that in person with a group of people who follow the sport of boxing or may even box in their life, they're going to have difference of opinions. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, as I'm looking, I'm going to be honest. I don't know why there's so many of you that get on here and say you're the best at this, the best at that. No one. Boxing is too deep to say you're the best at going up against one person. Unless we have a show like Jeopardy and you have the boxing personalities just run social media in a format like Jeopardy, and you ask certain questions about boxing to the point where it rallies up the points or the money or whatever. That's the only way you can determine that. You cannot determine that you're the best at anything when it comes to the sport of boxing, when it comes to mainstream media, because it's just so much that involves the sport of boxing. Because I can ask you a question that you may not even think I was going to that place in boxing, but it's still boxing pertinent. It pertains to the sport of boxing. If we're talking about boxing, you can't break it down and say, nah, man, we're just talking about, the current fighters today that's ranked in the top 15. No, we're talking about boxing. Boxing, just like Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice, right? We're talking about boxing. To get on here and continue to say that I'm the best, I'm undefeated, and this, that, and the other. Man, I've seen too many debates where the person just want to argue and continue to ask questions, and they don't want to answer questions. If I can't answer a question, guess what I'm gonna tell you? I don't know. I don't know. If I don't know a boxing question, I would say I truly don't know. I don't know. That's not gonna ruin me. I don't know. But some people over here, they refuse to even take accountability and say, you know what? I truly don't know. They'll just say, well, let me ask you this. It was a boxing media outlet that I used to tune into all the time until he was faced with another person that they had a little, conflict back and forth about certain things that was put out in the media, about the media outlet that I'm talking about. So, the caller that was calling in to this media outlet had some valid points. So what I was doing, I was just sitting back and I was like, check this out. This is my time to really see what this guy's talking about. You know what I'm saying? How is he going to act when he has somebody else in front of him that's kind of putting him on the carpet? You know what I'm saying? Calling him out, so to speak. Just because you call somebody out doesn't mean you're right. So they go back and forth and they're having this dialogue, and I'm seeing a trend like the caller is asking some really good questions, some solid questions, and the guy refused to answer him. Like it was some questions that he was asking that he couldn't get the answer. But instead of just saying, you know what, I don't know, man. You're right. I just don't know the answer. They would turn around, hold up. That's all you. Hey, hold up. Well, I got a question. Hold up. What about this? And the guy's like, listen, the conversation changed back and forth. So it got to the point where the caller was like, listen, man, if you're not going to answer any of my freaking questions, why are we still talking? It's pointless. And he had a point. And it took that debate to not consummate what I already knew. But all it did was just confirm that I was wasting my time listening to this particular individual because he wasn't willing to speak mano a mano and give respect to the person that he was having a dialogue with about boxing. He had to be right. I don't have to be right. If I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. It's not going to change anything. But when some of y'all get up here and say y'all the absolute best at this boxing media, like the absolute best, like no one can fade you on boxing talk. I mean, that's one of those deals where it's a tough line, man. Because what are we discussing? How are we going to discuss it? we will be able to actually have a dialogue, sensible dialogue between one another without it getting personal. Because I'm not going to stand here and get personal with somebody that I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Can we have a dialogue? Lion Killer say, I owe you a lot more for just being a true individual. I appreciate that, Lion Killer, for sure, man. On the Wonderful Life of Bob J. Scott, you're a man, though, brother. I appreciate that, man. Bliss Matthews, there's no way to explain that glove. That's all I'm trying to say, man. There's no way. It's ways to explain it when you compare it to boxing, but there's no way to explain the actual pliable distortion that was happening all from a flickering of a jab. Those gloves are not that cheap. We're not talking about gloves that you're going into Target and say, I want to become a boxer. So you're gonna grab a General Bob. Those of you that really have those things in your house know what the General Bob is. You know, that dummy that you can punch, elbow, kick. Yeah. You don't walk up in the Target and trying to purchase a General Bob and a pair of gloves. No, we're talking about top of the line gloves that's fairly new, not broken in sparring. And you get these gloves, you put them on, and you flick the jab out there, man, you're going to find out it's damn near, like, really, for someone who doesn't box and have that form, it's very difficult for you to make that shit pop back with your hand in there. Put your whole hand up in the glove and pop that jab out like that. Flick it like Tyson Fury. And put it on video. Not the fake videos where you got people that's barely even flicking the jab out there. Like, they're not even going through the process as if they have an opponent. I'm talking about really putting some energy behind it and trying to flick the jab in the same form for which Tyson Fury was doing it. Just make it go back. Try to make that glove go back like Tyson Fury. It don't matter if it was slow motion or not. DBMA says Sugar Hill doesn't want to get caught. He knows what happened. Man, Sugar Hill been in boxing long enough, man. He been in boxing long enough. I know he's seen it. And I'm going to leave it there. William say most of these guys have to be right even when they're wrong. That's underscore right there, man. Put that in parentheses. Don Dollar says some are better than others, but there's no best. It's no best, man. That's no best. I never seen anything like that in all my years I watched boxing. Matthew say if it was a hook, he might have got away with it. B&B Boxing, World Breaker done changed his name, went turncoat, named you the Lion Killer. I knew you was a born hater. I don't know what that's about, B&B Boxing. You have to take that up with World Breaker and not World Combat Sports. You have to take that up with him, my brother. You know what I'm saying? But as I was saying, as far as like with Tyson Fury and everybody that's advocating for this guy, all the information is out there. You know what I'm saying? All the information is out there. Information such as the slides and everything else. But it's up to us, the mainstream media, right? The new media, so to speak, is to not be so naive just to advocate for Tyson Fury and not Deontay Wilder. You can't hate Deontay Wilder just from losing. He lost. You can't have this much disdain for Deontay Wilder and don't have it for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua lost. Andy Ruiz lost. He even lost to Joseph Parker. But I'm talking about he lost to Anthony Joshua in a bad way. He looked terrible. He came in overweight. He just disregarded the respect. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that perspective that Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, scrambling all over the freaking canvas. Deontay Wilder has never really been down like Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua spitting out his gum shield, turned around looking at his corner. I'm telling you, I just thought that Anthony Joshua's finish was worse than Deontay Wilder. Seriously, because Anthony Joshua act like he didn't want to be there. He act like he was bowing out, man. He was gone. And he ended up losing the fight. The referee ended up stopping the fight. But Deontay Wilder never once looked at the referee like, what are you doing? I want out. I truly believe Deontay Wilder, man, would have went out on his shield. My killer say, so I'm a hater and a turncoat. How do you conclude that without me even speaking or posting? DBMA says, smash the like button. My killer, amazing the conclusion people gain without one ever speaking on his own behalf. DBMA say, salute Bliss Matthews. It was a hook. It just might have. You know, one thing we can totally get from Tyson Fury's flicking the jab out there is that he performed a technique to make it good for debate, to make it not as obvious as we would have seen. Like him flicking the jab out there, he put it within the format of boxing fundamentals. It's not the way he'd been flicking the jab, but for Deontay Wilder, he was out there flicking the jab and just getting away with freaking murder. You know what I'm saying? So he did it within the technical format of boxing fundamentals. So people are not really saying, oh man, he blatantly went out there and tried to punch Deontay with his knuckles because he was doing it so sneakishly. You know, he's been that shit's been practiced for quite some time. And he was doing it in line with the boxing fundamentals. But people don't read the rule books. People just look at Deontay Wilder's lip being bloody, his ear bleeding, and people just look at how he was being outboxed, and they say he just lost. He lost. Y'all goddamn leave that shit alone. He lost. Period. Don't say nothing about it. Leave it be. He lost. And the whole perspective is we're not talking about him losing. We're talking about the HOW. How he lost. If he lost fair and square, we good. We good. But don't act like Adonis Stevenson didn't happen. Don't act like Zab Judah incident didn't happen. Maxim Dadashev. Don't act like Billy Collins didn't happen. I mean, come on, man. Stop acting like this shit hasn't happened recently. Why are y'all acting like that? Y'all sitting up here, oh man, prayers. Stay prayed up. Stay prayed up. Zab Judah, he in the hospital. So you're going to stay prayed up for Zab Judah, right? But you're going to act like nothing else matters when it comes to another fighter that potentially was using illegal tactics, all because it's heavyweight. You cannot do that. You can't sit up here and say prayed up for Adonis Stevens to come out. Jerry McLean. Oh, that's just a sad case. Anyone who is exposed to manipulating the equipment which they are given to compete, they deserve every bit of exposure that they're getting. Seriously. And the people that's out here defending it, and they're putting together their own sort of clips because they hate and despise of one person, that's not holding within the integrity of media. Because I know media can be deceptive. I know media in itself can distort the truth or come up with their own narratives to a point where it has influence behind it. We all know that. It's been an AP for quite some time. But for this particular matter right here, we're talking about footage that is out there that we can compare across the board. Who? We ain't talking about Muhammad Ali. We're talking about Tyson Fury fights. Grab some footage. Everyone who's making all these videos, grab some footage of the Pianetta, Swartz, Wallen, and Safari. Grab some footage of any round in that fight of the glove doing the same thing it did in Tyson Fury Wilder 1 and 2. ahead. If you want to debunk anything, grab some recent footage. Even go back to Klitschko when he won the belt in 2015. Go back to that fight. It went to decision, right? So you have so many rounds to go off of. Grab either round. Put the video together. Go ahead. Put a video together of Tyson Fury flicking the jab out there and his glove bending back the way it was. Go right ahead. Because a lot of y'all out here saying you're the best at what you do, this, that, and the other. No one can this, that, and the other. Put a video together of 5 fights that I just gave you. That's all you need upon his return. You got the Klitschko, you got Safari, Pianetta, Schwartz, and Wallen. You have 5 freaking fights for you to compare footage to the Wilder Fury 1 and 2. Compare slide for slide on his glove bending back 90 degrees and his hand looking the way it did in either one of those fights. I'll be waiting. Please, by all means. By all means, I want to see it. Because all this shit that I'm seeing out here and people want to turn a blind eye to it, you're not doing yourself justice and you're not doing media justice. And the first thing they say is, this is to the Deontay Wilder fanboys. This is to the Wilder fans who are delusional, the illiterate Wilder fans. It's funny how the Wilder fans, they're placed up on the academy of negativity, right? They just give the most negative goddamn characterization, right? Here go the fanboys, the Wilder fanboys that don't know shit about boxing. And then they come up with the same shit. They'll find somebody in a gym who, for one, they're not even damn going through the same motion as Tyson Fury. They're not the same size. No matter if you're in boxing or not, if you're not putting forth the effort that may indeed hurt your hand because you're not used to that jab, we want to see you flick that jab out there with invigoration to try to get that glove to bend backwards. And then, being that you have the media to do so, have somebody record it, slow it down to prove your point. But the gloves have to be new. They have to be some of the same standard gloves that we're seeing on the highest level, man. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see no Target gloves, a starter kit. You go up there and pick up a pack of gloves that come with a mouthpiece, a pair of shoes, and a jock strap. No, we don't want that, man. We want the real deal. DBMA say BMB boxing while you shade the guy. Line Killer say BMB boxing, soon you will hear from me. Then when you hear from me, my voice, my words, and redraw your conclusions. Withdraw your conclusions, okay? Matthews say he did outbox him though. He did. Hey, Matthews, I'm not, look. I'm not sitting up here exhausting valuable time saying that Deontay Wilder won like it was the first Gennady Golovkin and freaking Saul Canelo Alvarez draw. Like it was, any dilemma to say that, you know what, take away the stoppage and Deontay Wilder was winning all the rounds. And that's not, you never heard me say that. Not once. Matthew said they think they'll fight again. Think they'll fight again? Absolutely. I think they will. It's too much money out there for a trilogy right now. And then, we have new media that's talking about this every other day. We're still talking about the glove gate. We're still talking about the potential of Tyson Fury hand not essentially being formed in the glove the way it's supposed to be. I mean, that's content to talk about. I don't talk about it every day. I don't, but I'm just keeping it out there because I wanted to make mention of Nevada State Athletic Commission coming back to that particular fan and saying that they didn't find no irregularities to it. So that's basically saying it ain't gonna be an investigation right now. And look, I mean, have you heard anything about it on ESPN and any other freaking mainstream media? No. Wonderful Life say they don't care because they hate Wilder. DBMA say, yes, the third fight will happen. There's so much money to be made. True. Matthew said, DBMA, yeah, I think so too. Definitely would be a big bag. Michael Lewis said, cheat is a cheat. Bob J say, he would not have outboxed if he didn't have 5-inch added to his arm. I don't know, man. I don't know about the 5-inch added to his arm because he just didn't lose off the jab. He lost off balance. Deontay Wilder wasn't balanced good that night, and obviously he didn't have the power. So if you're gonna know boxing, and then the power generated through the legs, even if you look at one of my earlier videos of Roy Jones Jr., he was teaching his fighter to basically generate that power and speed from his legs, because a fighter can stand straight up and just throw arm punches and not have really too much power. And you just heard Layla Ali make mention of Carissa Shields in that perspective. They said, Layla Ali said, basically, you have all the talent and the boxing skills, but you just don't know how to delegate, your punches. You don't know how to basically deliver the power the way it's supposed to. So that's sort of what's going on. If Deontay Wilder didn't have legs, then when he actually landed that 1-2 and it didn't affect Tyson Fury as much, then it might have been because he didn't have his legs up underneath him. You know what I'm saying? The man went down maybe like what? 4 times, 5 times, I think. I'm not sure. But he was only knocked down twice. But the rest, I know he stumbled when he ducked under Tyson Fury's right hand, I believe. And he went down another time when I think it was 4, when he came out of the corner and he was trying to hold on to Tyson Fury. But if he didn't have his legs underneath him, guess what? It'll be tough for that man to generate that power. Michael Lewis said, people criticize Floyd for being smart and exposing attempts to cheat him. Tyson outboxed Deontay Wilder is what makes the cheating more shameful. He should not have cheated, but he couldn't help himself. I mean, Michael, if they got away with it the first time, they come back to the scene of the crime with the same weapon. Hey, we don't have no reason to run away from it. Don't nobody know shit about what we did the first time. So the heist is what it is. We're going to go back. We're going to delegate the same freaking criminal activity, and hopefully we can get away with it the second time. That's how cheats think. They wasn't able to get caught the first time, so they're going to come back to the crime of the scene to commit the offense once more. Williams say ESPN has some of the biggest money out there, so they will protect Fury at all costs. Hey, man, they have orders too, y'all. Believe me, ESPN has orders, y'all. Believe me when I tell you, if they say don't talk about it, don't talk about it. If you get out there and talk about it anyway, you will face repercussions. I can only assume. That's a good thing about being independent media, though. You can get sponsors, right? And you can still talk about, whatever you want to, as long as it's not extremely controversial. But whoever sponsors you should do their own research on you anyway. That's a good thing about being independent media. You can pretty much come up with your own topics and say what you say. But understand one thing. You're never going to be able to please everybody in life. I know some people frown on, me sometimes, but they frown on somebody else too. They frown on this person. It's always going to be somebody out there that want to say, hey, watch your language. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to say what you say. I mean, it's always going to happen. Bob J say he was hurt during the fight. I don't believe Wilder would have gotten beat had he been hit with regular gloves, or, Tyson Fury's hand being seated in the gloves properly, because there's no way that you're going to see a knuckle imprint and you not think that something is terribly wrong. Like, you just ignoring the fact. You trying to say that's a palm line? I I looked at my palm line. I really don't have no palm lines that's vertical like that. You know what I'm saying? You look at the palm lines, we don't have, because when we clench a fist, it's just not that way, man. The palm lines are much different. You just don't have vertical freaking palm lines unless you've been freaking squeezing Twinkies off in your palm trying to hide them for a snack later. And your palms are just that fat and juicy. You know what I'm saying? Michael Lewis said, exactly, Scott, well said. Patrick Williams, appreciate that, man. Patrick said, there's no accountability. Boxing has accountability, but it's like in the financial pockets of the shakers and the movers. You know what I'm saying? They have accountability, but it's just not the accountability that we're talking about, Patrick. Like, our accountability is, it may take away certain people from earning that bag. It may take away from certain people making another fight. It's not the accountability that we're saying, okay, within the integrity of the sport, this needs to happen. Because look, drug tests cost money. Don't get it twisted. Drug tests cost money, right? Investigations cost money. It costs money. Seriously, it costs money for them to do that. Dundada said, Fury fans be like, stop showing the cheating in the first fight. Hey, that's the reference. That's the source. You have to show. I remember when we started talking about this glove stuff, right? And the video was surfacing from the first fight. And Fury fans were so quick to say, oh, that's the first fight. That's the first fight. That's not relevant to this fight. And then the video of the second fight came out. He didn't cheat. That's just the way he flicks the jab out there. His hand, it didn't look any different than any other fight he's been in. Man, I'm telling you, they was acutely delusional, man. They did not want to face the fact that something was terribly wrong with Tyson Fury's gloves. I'm talking about his hand was not seated properly. And the format of the glove when flicking the jab out there is not a normality that you see in boxing. Come on, stop playing. Michael Lewis said the sport, let me go back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You know, the sport has no integrity or validity, to be honest, without accountability. I agree. Matthew said, no, big bro, you shooting it straight. I wasn't saying that you were saying that's why he lost. He was just saying you're simply talking about the glove, which is definitely something we should be looking at. Yeah, you know, Deontay Wilder lost the fight, man. But, you know, the good thing about it, if you truly support any fighter, you're going to support them to come back. I still have something that, you know, I really haven't posted when I was piggybacking off someone else's interview when I was in fight camp, Deontay Wilder's fight camp, right? And I remember him saying this, and that's probably the reason, you know, it's just certain things that stick out to me. Anyway, he said people want to see you fall. They want to see you face adversity. But more importantly, I believe he said something like, it's all about how you get up. It's all about how you return from that adversity. You know, people, when they see you basically undefeated in boxing, they want to see you take your first loss and see how you respond to that. I may post a video sooner or later, but I do have it. I do have it for a fact. And I remember him talking about that. And it always stuck with me. I was like, damn. You know, I wonder what the public gonna think if he does take his first loss. And we seen it. Bliss, Patrick say they praise Fury like he beat a prime Tyson. They praise Fury like he beat prime time Tyson. And so much evidence out there, quiet and not taking accountability. Fact is, people come on where is the common sense. Let me see, quiet and not taking accountability. Fact is fact. People come on, where's the common sense? And you know, that Patrick, the common sense isn't so common, man. You know what I'm saying? We want the common sense to be common, but that shit just isn't a regular point of existence, man. People don't want to do it. It's too much. I tell people all the time, good bows before evil every single day. And I'm going to say another thing, and hopefully people don't get overly offended by this, right? But it's something you might want to understand. And you're talking to somebody who's been to church all for whatever. But understand one thing when it comes to good bowing before evil and common sense and all this. A person will always look at the worst part of a situation before they look at the overall good and what it potentially could be. I'm talking about immediately. First and foremost, you walk into a situation. Just say you're making a deal for a house or whatever. You walk in there with the hope, you know, but really you saying, man, I wonder what's wrong with this house. I wonder what's wrong with it. Even when a house is built from the ground up, from brand spanking new, as a human being, you go in there and say, okay, I want to look and see what's wrong with it first. And then tell me what's wrong. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Don't forget it. I want y'all to understand what I'm talking about. From this day forward, if you ever believed it, just take it out your head. Because I always say I don't leave inspirational quotes and all this shit, right? I don't believe in that. Because it's coming from somebody else from a different platform who somebody wants to say, oh man, look at Denzel Washington, what he said. Know that it is in fact no hell. Don't think it's ever a hell in life. Name one person that's came back from hell. Name one freaking spirit that you've seen burning in your dream. I told people when I was in the military, and I really shut down a whole room of people when I said this. I don't believe in there's a hell. Hell is where we currently exist. That is it. I know that's a harsh name because that's the stigma we're placed in, but I'm just going to leave it right there because we wouldn't be going through all this coronavirus. We wouldn't be going through all the deaths, the stillborns, the freaking deformities, Down syndromes, cancer, killings, murders, and all this shit right here. It isn't no hell, but there is what I believe the afterlife of heaven. I do believe it. And the reason why I say that, because when you talk about seeing the light, right? I mentioned this before in my live before, and I'm just going to leave it alone. When I had a motorcycle accident and I was knocked unconscious, the last thing I seen was this white truck. And somehow I thought I died. I say, I'm done. When I wrecked my motorcycle and I was knocked out, I saw the light. There is a light. I can't explain. Somehow dropped out talking about it ain't no hell. That shit funny. That shit was funny. Back to the comments, man. But you don't have to believe it. I'm just saying. I hold firm to it. It ain't no hell, man. You put people in a stigma or a systematic belief that there's a hell and a heaven and have them choose. Mostly people that you see in church, they always point a finger talking about you going to hell, you going to hell. Prove it. Hold on for a second. Okay, Michael Lewis said, I place the blame on Deontay and his team for not catching this the first time. Yeah, man, it could have been a point where they so used to going into the heat of battle, man, crossing enemy lines, that you don't think about it. And more so, not speaking for Deontay Wilder, but Deontay Wilder may indeed believe, wholeheartedly, he is a warrior. You know what I'm saying? He don't care what the situation is. He's going to go in there and compete regardless of the situation. It's boxing. He's gotten as far as he did. And, he always talking about his grandma said he was anointed. I believe he believes all of that. If you don't believe in yourself, then how are you gonna succeed in such a brutal sport, such a full contact sport? Boxing ain't to be played. You know what I'm saying? So if he don't believe he was anointed, if he don't believe that he's a warrior, then therefore he might, he goes in there with a different mindset. He said, I can go in here and defeat this guy. I'm not worried about it. We're talking about, this is no lie. We're talking about the first time I'm actually running into Deontay Wilder outside of the MGM Grand at the airport. And I say, hey, champ, can I get a picture? I got a picture. And the lady at the desk said, what basketball player is that? I said, he ain't a basketball player. He's a heavyweight boxing champ of the world. And she was like amazed, like, huh? He don't play for a team? That's what this lady said, man. DBMA said, yeah, I don't know who Platform is, but it's from the UK. He was calling Wilder fans illiterate, degenerates, everything but the Son of God. And we know 85% of the Wilder fans are black, and so is he. Now we know if you get a UK dude that's the same color as American blacks, you know how that's gonna go. And that's why I'm saying that, I have some UK friends as Facebook friends. And it's not one time that you prove me wrong that, guess what? You want to defend every UK fighter. Now, how biased is that? You from the UK and you want to defend every UK fighter, but you're telling Americans that we can't defend the fighter that we're advocating for if it's Deontay Wilder, just because he's black. And just a caveat off the illiterate degenerates, that's the hateful disdain, you know what I'm saying, that they put off on people. You don't have to believe it, but they want people to chime in, man, and go in on them, in response, as if it's personal. Don't take it personal unless the person say you are illiterate and degenerate. Then at that point in time, I'm gonna say you have to prove it. You have to prove it, because when you're talking about degenerates, you're talking about a lack of comprehension. You're talking about a person who isn't cognizant to the age-appropriate comprehension level. They fall short of that. Illiterate means you are deficient. You know what I'm saying? You're undereducated. If you can sit up here and read social media comments, you're pretty literate. You know what I'm saying? You're pretty literate. Most of the time when it comes to illiteracy is reading. Seriously. Just look at savants. Savants are praised for I'm talking about being one of the top 5% in whatever their process is. If it's science, math, whatever it is. But savants are not smart across the board. They're only strong in that particular point of their strength. That's what they're strong in. Patrick said, "Oh my God, I can relate to this light. When I was a child and had glass thrown into my forehead, and I came out of it under hospital light. I won't ever forget that moment." Yeah, man. You know, people can take it as they see fit, but you'll get some people on here that's referenced in the Bible. You can't reference the Bible with me. The Bible is written by man. I want physical form. I don't want no freaking videos. I want physical form. I want you to show me somebody who is in hell currently, who is currently visiting. And we all know from history, you don't visit hell. You there for eternity. You're there for eternity. You're burning in hell for eternity. Show me somebody who's burning in hell. Show me someone who's returned to earth from being in hell 15 years. I just want to see it. Michael Lewis say the lack of due diligence on the part of Wilder camp before going on safari. You better know the animal you're hunting. He was fighting a gypsy king. Learn about the gypsy culture. I totally get what you're saying about that, man. Know your enemy. I totally get it. And, you know, I can say the same things like you say, know the gypsy culture. A lot of people, it's like, well, know who you're dealing with when it comes to blacks. Know who you're dealing with when it comes to Mexicans, whites. You know what I'm saying? Know who you're dealing with when you come to Haitians, Africans, whatever. I mean, that can go all across the board. But when it comes to the sport of boxing, man, you have rules to abide by. So they want to look at it like, oh, hey, make sure we following all the rules now. We're going into one of the biggest fights of our career. Make sure you follow the rules. But for Tyson Fury, they may have known some way to manipulate the rule process, which they did. And it came down to the hands being in the gloves. Real talk. Team Africa Worldwide, salute to you. He said that Wilder appeared to be drugged too. How can he prevent this in a third fight? This could get dangerous. I'm not really sure about the drugging aspect. That's outside my scope of any. I wouldn't even say expertise. I'm just saying as far as my research recall. I mean, now you're going into basically malice. And it deals with criminality, which is all this is criminality. You know what I'm saying? If his gloves was in there the wrong way, his hand was in the glove the wrong way, it's criminal. If it was somehow drugged, that's really a deep aspect when you talk about, you got to have some proof to it. We just can't go off physical appearances unless so-and-so is really showing the signs of someone being drugged up, inebriated, whatever the case, delusional. Yeah, it'd take much more evidence than just slides, man. Deontay looked bad in that fight. He wore the fight. You know what I'm saying? Fat lip, knots on his head, ear bleeding out like that, which they thought it was a busted eardrum, but it wasn't. And, people's coming up saying that, well, Deontay Wilder's equilibrium was off because his eardrum was busted. And then come to find out, his eardrum was not busted. He just had a cut in his ear. So his eardrum was not busted. DBMA say the whole crew is on some Scarface type play. Hey man, boxing is like that. If you can get away with it, there's a lot of people get away with it. I mean, it's a lot of people don't even cover the freaking regional level of boxing and see what's in the grass. You know what I'm saying? They don't see it. I'm not going to get on here and talk about it because I still want to do media on the regional level. I don't want to go in there and talk about the underlayers of boxing. That's not what you do. It's certain things you see in boxing. You just keep your damn mouth shut. That's on the top level too. DBMA say agree that Michael. Well, Patrick, what did you say? Did you see the video of Tyson Fury corner sliding down his gloves? Yeah, Ricky Hatton and blocking the view of the referee. They were all in on it. And once again, video footage that is out there, if you have someone that's speaking on it right now, then there's other people that's making all these videos that can very well take that, edit it, and put it out here. That's all I'm saying. Like, do your damn job. I appreciate the fact that you're going through creating videos, but you only making sure that you're inserting different clips that benefit your narrative. You're not putting the evidence out there that goes against what you're trying to prove, the facts that you're trying to prove. You're just putting out certain clips and information to help you flow a little bit smoothly and trying to discredit what Wilder fans or anyone who's advocating in support of the champ. That's all you're trying to do. The champ got beat. It's how he got beat. How? That little bitty word, that three-letter word. How did it happen? Was it fair or unfair? Did Tyson Fury somehow dive back into what never left? Him being a cheater? Did he do it for the Tyson Fury Wilder 1 and 2? If he did, that's why we're on here talking about it, though. Stop acting like the shit didn't happen. Be better. You know what I'm saying? Be better. The shit is obvious. Something wasn't right, man. But to answer your question, man, I've seen a lot of that. I just don't do a lot of videos with putting shit together to talk about it. It's good in a way, but it's very time consuming. It's a lot more collective responsibilities that I have, man. You know, DBMA say agree at Michael Lewis. That complexion is on a whole other level. Lewis say he definitely wore the fight, but you're right, Scott. This boxing and it touches in so many different levels of what's going on in society. Man, we know boxing has been grimy. People look. What if you was a fighter back there? You know, you hear all the situation that happened with Don King. You know, but Don King is considered the OG. Don't too many people like to talk about what he did. You know, but so you only got some mainstream promoters that people will link up to. You know, you got the Bob Arums, of course, that was back there with Don King, and we already know the history between them. And then, you know, you got Al Heyman, advisor, or whatever his position is. And then you got, you know, Oscar De La Hoya with, he's off there doing in his own freaking planet, doing whatever he's doing, bro. You know? And it's not as many that's been in the sport in this period of time. I'm talking about doing the promotion thing more years than Bob Arum has. Seriously, Bob Arum's been around for the test of time, man. The changing of the guard is close to happening than we expect. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum, man, Top Rank. Shout out to Top Rank. They put on some damn good promotions. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but that doesn't mean he hasn't seen the shit. He's seen the dirt. He's seen the dirt. DBMA said agreed at Michael Lewis. That complexion is on a whole nother level. Racism ain't going nowhere, man. You might well understand. It's all about how the people need to handle it. Lewis said he definitely wore the fight. I read that DMA say, Patrick, yeah, saw the video where Ricky Hatton pulls his gloves down in the corner. You know, Ricky Hatton, we all know, come on, man. They all flock together, bro. Ricky Hatton is a known freaking dope head himself. You know what I'm saying? He talked all that shit going in there fighting Floyd Mayweather, and he ended up taking a freaking FaceTime with the corner buckle. You know what I'm saying? That's when FaceTime wasn't even relevant. Ricky Hatton developed FaceTime for real. When Floyd did that check left hook, Ricky Hatton was the first freaking inventor of FaceTime in the ring. Real talk. Talking all that shit. Michael Lewis said, a black MP, when I caught my first case, explained to me on the way to juvenile detention that I was going to lock up, not for what I did, but how I did it. I was 7 years old, then about to be 40 now. Damn. Juvenile detention that I was going to lock up, not for what I did, but how I did it. You don't even have to elaborate on that. And that's wild. Michael Lewis said, I thank that man for teaching me and gave it and have it kept in mind ever since. Hence why I'm still here. That's real talk, man. Blessings to you. You know, because if you don't change, you know what I'm saying? If you don't change from an instance on the situation you was involved with and you keep on doing the same thing, then people are always going to look at you as a person that doesn't have that common sense. You know what I'm saying? You ain't smart. But I tell people all the time, right? You have to look at some of the people who have done good by you in your life, whether they black or white. So if they was black or white or Mexican or whatever, you can't just say that none of them has never did good to you. Like you walk through life and you never experience another ethnicity outside of your own do good by you. You know what I'm saying? If a black person did good by you and we did good for one another, then you should make light of it. But don't act like that's the only person that ever did anything for you. I mean, growing up in the South, man, I got plenty of stories. But you know, that's for a whole nother topic. I have plenty of stories, especially when it comes to religion. I just totally believe in what I said, man. The only people that I've primarily seen talk about hell is the individuals that come to church and sit down and crack their Bible open, and they sit up here and try to compete with other family members and try to place judgment on people who's supposed to be there receiving the word. You know what I'm saying? They dare to get the devotion and the sermon. But yet, if they see you out here, especially social media, can you imagine going to church? Can you imagine going to church and one of the members come up to you and say, "Hey, brother, can I talk to you for a second?" I say, yeah, go ahead. And he say, I just want to, it was weighing heavy on my heart. It was on my heart to come up here and talk to you because I saw you out there at World Combat Sports and you know, though I like what you're doing, but you come into church on Sunday and on Saturday, you was up there cussing and using inappropriate language. And this is, you know, a religion, like what they always say, you know, you come in, you ask for forgiveness, and, you know, you're not condemned for sinning because we're all sinners, right? So the brother pull you to the side. I just didn't like, you know, what you were saying in there, you know, on how you was wording it. You know, you need to do your podcast or without any vulgarity. And then, you know, to make it even more enlightening, you need to read a scripture, a verse, you know, to those so you can win them over to God. You can't do that. No. Can you imagine what social media has destroyed relationships in church, man? When you go up here in church and people are trying to talk to you, it's like, man, I saw what you was doing on social media. I saw what you was doing on IG. Can you see how it is when they have daughters, right, who may have an IG account, and people walk up to the parent and be like, "Sister Johnson, can I speak to you for a second? I saw your daughter Kayla. She was on IG. She had on a lot of makeup and she had her eyebrows done and everything. I just wanted to know if you was okay with that. Like, did you approve her to put makeup on and get in front of a camera on IG? because I feel that's a little bit provocative for somebody her age. I'm telling you, man, social media is destroying churches right now, man. They are destroying. Even when T.I. came in church down here in Atlanta, and I believe they had already taken up what, 2 offerings already, and T.I. came in the church, and the preacher ended up taking another offering. And he was like, T.I. was like, man, he was there for a money grab. And he was with another rapper too. You know what I'm saying? Another artist. And he felt that the preacher was basically trying to take advantage of him. And I get what he's saying. But look, I grew up in church, and I know it's one person on here. It's one person that's gonna run back. This is a little bit outside boxing, but I'm just gonna speak on it anyway, right? I know it's 1 or 2 people that's tuning in, right? That know what I'm talking about. When I was coming up, we didn't have social media and shit when I was a kid in church, right? So coming from a strict, abusive set of parents who was in church, were very strict in the South. You know how it was in the South. Very, very strict. You get your ass whooped, right? So when I was coming up with no IG, no Facebook and shit like that, you had word of mouth. You had parents who would go up and tell on you. So you look at it in this way. You get somebody who's supposed to be in church looking out, mentoring these kids coming up, right? But yet and still, they want to go and tell your parents everything. Even if it really something small, instead of talking to you as a mentor, they should go up to the kid and say, you know what? I seen you doing this. I don't think is healthy. I don't think is good for you to do it. And you might want to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Just give you that advice. No, not when I was coming up. Look, these motherfuckers go ahead and got them tail. And that's the one thing that was bad about having parents from the South, is that a lot of parents in the church felt that you spare the rod, you spoil the child, right? That has since changed because kids have much more access to call the law on your ass. They call the state on your ass. It's too many resources out here for kids to say, you know what? My parent beat my ass because I got low grades. Kids will go up here and shoot an email and be like, hey, I got bruises on my legs. My parents whooped me with a belt. What's going to happen? They don't even know the severity of this shit. They just know they have the resources to go out and send the email. You know what I'm saying? But coming up, it was too many people in church that may have not liked my pops, but instead of them being mentors in the church, they went out and tried to basically provoke. What they did, sit up here and provoke your parents to beat the kid. And that, in a lot of ways, in my thought process and the way I looked at it, I say, how can you be in church and doing what God wants you to do? You know what I'm saying? Following in the word of the Lord. If you're sitting up here telling and going to people's parents because you think they're going to whoop their kid ass. So you go up there and tell their parents every little thing their kid doing in church. If they talking, if they got up and used the bathroom, if they freaking was standing out there talking while the preacher was preaching, they go up there and make sure they tell your parent so you can get a whooping. But you know what? As a man and as a person that left the house at 17 years old in the military, I learned long before then that the world doesn't exist like that. Every church doesn't exist like that. You know what I'm saying? So when they go up here and tell on the kids and get their ass beat and they feel good about that, you know what I'm saying? They feel good about that shit. That's where you have to decipher, good religion from those who actually practice in religion. Because, having faith in God is good. But the influencers are the individuals that sit up here and claim to be cracking the Bible open, reading scriptures, but their intentions are very, very evil. Very evil. Very, very evil individuals, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the sport of boxing. I just thought I'll let y'all know some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? When people point their finger and say, God's gonna get you. That don't scare me, because why does he have you walking around town pointing a finger? You know what I'm saying? You going to hell. And we're gonna be there together if it's one. Michael Lewis said, I thank the man for teaching me. Okay. And appreciate that info there, Mike. For real. Patrick said, basketball have Adam Silver. Football got Roger Goodell. Boxing has whoever. No one at the top. Well, it's people at the top. I know what you're talking about. I know. And Patrick, solid point. And this is why it's so solid, right? This is why it's so solid. Because boxing has been around for so long, they don't want nobody at the top. Because it's $1 billion annually to be made in the sport of boxing. And if you know anything about it, it's so many microcosm of promoters that can get into the sport of boxing. You have matchmakers, you can have agents, you can have promoters. Everybody can be a motherfucking boxing promotion. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. If you got the money, you can goddamn be a boxing promoter. And then look at the fighters. Anybody can be a fighter. If you have the remediation, you have the physical skills to go ahead and do it. That don't mean you're going to go to the elite level, but the door is yours, right? So like Patrick just said, no one's at the top. We're not talking about the Bob Arons that have been in here for the longest time, because he isn't at the top. He's not sitting as the ruler of boxing. It's just too many areas. Boxing has too many roots that have blossomed into branches, and boxing is everywhere. Now check this out though. I can tell you who don't have branches. I can tell you who took a whole different approach and shut down any of that from happening. Look at the UFC. Look at mixed martial arts. Look at Bellator. Look at it. Look at the PFL. Look at the RFA, WSOF, WEC. Look at all these organizations outside of boxing. I'm going to start with the UFC. The UFC created an organization that you have people that's in positions that you have to answer to. You have chain of commands. And primarily what we see right now is Dana White, right? How can Dana White be in charge of such a huge organization, man? I know there's other people that's in play, but the president, he is the president of the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Who is the president of boxing? Like Patrick said, who is the president of boxing? Somebody tell me that. Dana White is the president of the UFC, one of the largest, the top tier, the highest platform of mixed martial arts to compete on, in a sense. What they did was shut it down. They have an interim title and a main title, right? It's no regular, it's no gold. It's interim, and then you have the regular title. I mean, the super title, so to speak. The main championship. Not until Jorge Masvidal fought Nate Diaz did Dana White include a BMF title, the baddest MF title. The belt means absolutely nothing. But Dana White, being the man that can make the decision, being in charge, the grand poobah, he said, you know what? I'm going to do it for the money. Jorge Masvidal just coming off knocking out Ben Askren in 5 seconds. A lot of people love Nate Diaz. A lot of people love Jorge Masvidal. So we're going to make a BMF title because Nate Diaz said something in a post-fight conference. So we're going to make a BMF belt. And of course, Jorge Masvidal won that BMF belt. But it has no relevance to the ranking structure of the UFC. No relevance. When people say I'm the BMF champion, people gonna be like, okay, I remember that fight. The fight was stopped from a freaking cut. I got it. When it comes to boxing, you got all these regional titles. You know what I'm saying? This is on a professional level, right? They're still in the sport of boxing. But when you go to the UFC, you have certain divisions. Just say if we're looking at the male side of the house, the only thing that separates the males divisions, they're missing some. Okay, starting off with flyweight, 125-pound division, all the way up to heavyweight. That's the male side of the house. Light heavyweight is 205. That is the weight classes. Now the women starts off at strawweight and it ends at featherweight. It's really not enough competitors to compete. But who is making the decisions in the UFC? President Dana White. President Dana White, he's making all decisions. Though he have people to consult with because the company was purchased for $4 billion, he's making decisions, man. He's making the decisions. In boxing, you have so many freaking separate organizations. You have co-promotions. Like the last fight that I did, PBC, it was PBC and TGB Promotions. Then, if you looked at the Deontay Wilder fight, it was Bomb Squad Promotions, TGB, PBC. They have so many promotions. And then, if you look at the Devin Haney fight, you have Devin Haney Promotions, PBC. I mean, everybody have promotions, man. Lines only promotions. You have so many threads of individuals, but really it's no one at the top of boxing that makes all the decisions. Not even Mauricio Suleiman. He's a part of the WBC sanctioning body, but he's not the head of boxing in general. Who is the head? Like was said up top. You know what I'm saying? Like Patrick said, you have Adam Silver over basketball, Roger Goodell football. For boxing, who is it? Michael Lewis said, my point is that I'm not making excuses for Wilder. I have strong feelings about integrity due to that experience. Fury cheating is on some deeper level for the sport and the society. And, you know, Fury's cheating, man. And that's a good point. Fury's cheating is on a deeper level. It's not the first time it's been to this extent. A lot of big fights that brought people to the table, they played out the way boxing wanted to play out. Just like Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Man, boxing made so much money off Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, y'all. Man, they made so much money off that fight. They made so much freaking money off that fight, man. All because they was able to allow people to think that Conor McGregor was going to be the one to defeat Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd did what Floyd did. He allowed Conor McGregor to do shit that no other fighter would have did to Floyd. What other fighter do you know pop Floyd Mayweather on the top of the head and say F his father and everybody else? What other fighter you know did that? What other fighter that was just getting away with murder like that? They wanted Conor McGregor to sell the fight as much as possible. And then Floyd played around with him and stopped him in the 10th round. Michael Lewis said, laugh my ass off. I already knew where you was going with your point. Yeah, you know, Jason Williams, salute to you. Say the problem with the UFC model is that you no longer are an independent contractor and you can get paid. And also the boss decides who fights and when they fight. That leads to centralized corruption. Well, it's truly monopolized. It has structure. So the one thing that I don't like too much about, and that's a very good point there, Jason. The one thing I don't like about the UFC is that taking away the independency independence of a fighter, such as a contractor, right? It prevents them from having collateral sponsorship from outside that allows them to make that extra money in between fights. With Dana White, he took all that away. They brought Reebok on deck and they just took all that away, man. I like seeing the banners come over the top of the freaking cage and you show all the sponsors like the old school days. I like that shit, WEC, tossing over the goddamn banners, you know, with the team standing over the banner, man. I mean, that shit was cool. Seeing the fighter on the banner, Dana White took all that shit away. They put a Reebok deal in there that pays the fighters a structured stipend according to how long they've been in the sport and stuff. It's almost like the military. When you're in the military, you get paid crumbs from E1 pretty much up to what, E5? E6, you start making a pretty decent amount of money, but it's still barely nothing unless you're married with kids. When you have a child, you get paid more money. You know what I'm saying? When you get married, you get paid more money. But the one thing about the UFC, the only thing you was married to really is sponsorship. That was they goddamn matrimony. Because sponsorships allow you to make money when you're not fighting. And when Dana White took that away, a lot of fighters freaking felt the pain of not having that sponsorship. That's why you see a lot of UFC fighters leaving that organization and they have no problem going to Bellator. Even though it's considered a tier down from the UFC, still Bellator is doing a damn good job at paying their fighters and allowing them sponsorship outside the organization. I mean, Dana White picking fights, whether matchmakers or whatever are picking fights, that's somewhat similar to boxing. I mean, you have to have a fighter who's selected. You know what I'm saying? The only thing with Dana and what Jason said about corruption, Dana has been known to have some favoritism, man. I'm serious. When he picks some of these fight matchups, seriously, real talk, I'm thinking like, what are you doing, man? Like when Conor McGregor was going through the gauntlet, man, he was giving Conor McGregor anything he wanted. Like when Conor McGregor defeated Silva, and then he ended up getting Jose Aldo fight at featherweight. Once he knocked out Jose Aldo, man, he was getting everything he ever wanted. Like, boom, he allowed him to fight Nate Diaz at 170. He lost. He got subbed. Dana said, no, you ain't finished that. We're going to get you that other fight. And somehow he came in there and went the distance with Nate Diaz. Like, how? And you were so freaking tired the last time. So he came in and went the distance with Nate Diaz. Dropped back down and faced Eddie Alvarez at lightweight 155. When he stopped freaking Eddie Alvarez, he could do no wrong. So guess what? When Dana White and Conor McGregor was like start talking about Floyd Mayweather, I said, hey, Dana, let's talk about this boxing match, man. We can make millions. Let's try to go over here and make this boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. I'm going to start talking shit like Ronda Rousey, and I'm going to get people to damn link up. And that's what happened. The rest is history. People start goddamn, staying glued to what Conor McGregor was saying, calling out Floyd Mayweather, calling him out. And then Floyd Mayweather started to respond. And before you know it, the fight was being made. The press tour was happening. It was so much shit talking. I mean, come on, man. It was so much shit talking on that press tour. I was like, God damn, I'm tired of it. Like that Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather press tour, I got tired. I said, this is too freaking much. And on fight night, Floyd Mayweather wore a freaking ski mask. That's how blatant Floyd Mayweather was. Floyd Mayweather basically was telling people, I'm here for a daylight heist, and I'm about to goddamn get millions. Watch me. And he did. He went in there and stopped Conor McGregor easily. He carried him for 10 rounds and he stopped him. DBMA say there's no precedent in boxing. It's only broken councils divided up by belts, weight classes. Right now, it only gets where you get in where you fit in. I agree. If you fit in, you may fit in and don't fit in. You know what I'm saying? When you're right, you're wrong. And when you're wrong, you're right. You know what I'm saying? That's how boxing can be. Bomb MMA, they had the two biggest trash talkers promoting the fight for a year or two. Yeah, man, they were. I think Conor McGregor is a better trash talker than Floyd Mayweather. Seriously. But I would take that Bomb MMA and put it as if they did complement each other in a way. They did. But when it comes to trash talking, man, I have to give Conor McGregor his check in the box. Conor McGregor's trash talking is on a whole nother level, y'all. Seriously. The trash talk he did took a beating to Nurmagomedov. Dustin Poirier. Man, he literally verbally broke down Jose Aldo. He subjected Jose Aldo to a whole nother line of mental degradation. Mental freaking degradation. He destroyed Jose Aldo verbally before the fight even took place. That's what pissed him off so bad that Jose went in there and threw that, close distance with a freaking power puncher that he didn't respect. And both of the fighters threw at the same time, and Conor McGregor knocked him out. But he couldn't wait to get a hold of Conor McGregor, man. Patrick say, mad respect for you and your knowledge for the sport. Appreciate it, Patrick. Appreciate y'all who tuned in, man, dropping this raw input, man, this boxing talk. That's what it's about. It ain't all about being right. It's all about, just being on point and giving something to talk about. I know it ain't gonna always be like this, but I'll take it when it's hot. Michael Lewis say Dana definitely plays favorites, hence John. Oh shit. He's going in on the GOAT, man. Michael said John Cocaine and Steroid Jones. Damn. Gave the man two middle names, man, and neither one of them are good. But hey, they're right. They're right. Conor McGregor's career, etc. John Jones has said, man, he's convinced us all that he's a grimy dude. He's freaking a malefactor. If y'all know what that is, that's an evildoer. You know what I'm saying? A blackguard. Blackguard has nothing to do with race, but it means scoundrel. John Jones is all of that, man. He said it. Conor McGregor too. Conor McGregor, man, has did some crazy shit. Like Conor McGregor, the way he's been out here smashing phones, jumping over the cage, freaking punching an old man in a local pub, to potentially being a part of allegedly the sexual situation with the team and all that, tossing a dolly truck, an iron dolly truck at a window of a bus just because Khabib was on there. And he was mad because Khabib and his team liked doing the little boy, hey, let me corner him and give him a pep talk. That's how they roll, man. Listen, that's how the Russians, that's how they roll, bro. They cornered Adam Lobov and gave him a little boy speech. Hey, it's only so much that we can take. You want to pass the word to Conor McGregor that we're right here. We're not going anywhere. You understand that, Artem? He's talking too much shit about me and my religion and my parents, and we're not going to take too much of that. So when he was patting Artem on the back, he said, I'm just giving you a fair warning. This is one of those moments that is a hands-off moment. You know what I'm saying? I know we have you on the corner and we can beat your ass right now, but this is a hands-off moment. And when Conor McGregor got light, when Conor McGregor received a phone call from Artem, say, hey, Khabib and his boys cornered me and was giving me the speech. Conor McGregor, man, he was livid. He was livid, man. He came in there to Madison Square Garden, I believe. He had maybe 10 to 15 dudes with him. And man, he tossed that iron dolly at the window. He didn't give a fuck who was sitting next to it. He didn't know if Khabib was sitting next to it. He didn't know shit. That shit was crazy. Jason said, bro, I love your content. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. Love your analysis. Keep it up. I don't know why I don't get notifications when you come on. I'm always late. I don't know, man. If y'all hit the bell icon to get notifications, that's the only thing I can say. YouTube is not consistent on that sometimes. Just like somehow, my connection drops or whatever when I was talking about religion. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can't stop this remote, when it's Wi-Fi. You know how that goes. Michael Lewis said, Mayweather versus McGregor reminded me of the old movie, The Great White Hype. Remember that flick? I knew that Floyd would let him get tired, then wax his ass in the 10th. We all know Floyd Mayweather was playing with Conor McGregor. Did you see the tactics that, the referee was allowing Conor to get away with? Like, Conor McGregor was rabbit punching Floyd behind the head. Floyd was turning around, turning his back to Conor. I mean, he was doing some shit we never see Conor do. See Floyd do, right? We seen Conor do it because he's a mixed martial artist and rabbit punches are allowed in mixed martial arts. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff that he was doing inside the ring was so awkward looking, like he was out of his element, that Floyd was allowing him to do it. And then when it was time to turn it on, knowing that Conor didn't have cardio to begin with, Floyd started to shut him down, man. Shut his ass down. And it was easy. But yeah, I remember that movie, The Great White Hype, for sure. Michael said, John is a great fighter, but as far as integrity, we know Conor is a nasty cunt. Like, come on. Hey, both of them are nasty in their own way, man. Seriously. Both of them have families. Both of them have their demons. Seriously. I always tell people, you cannot look at a fighter. You cannot look at a fighter as just a normal human being. You have to look at a fighter as a fighter. They take in punishment. So some of the shit that they do in society is going to be fucked up. The same can be said about military servicemen. In certain situations, you might expect them to handle stuff differently because of what they've been through. You have people going to the combat zone. You have fighters taking impact to their head. You have mixed martial artists taking kicks, elbows to the head, punches. Some of the shit they do, man, you really have to sit back and say, damn, that's that fighter's mentality. You know what I'm saying? Michael said Khabib kicked his ass because of all that good shit Conor was talking. You can't win the match with words. Yeah, you can't win the match with words. And also, you're sitting up here talking about the man's family, religion. Oh, he got that ass whooping. Seriously. Khabib couldn't wait. And you know what? Khabib subbing him out the way he did, right? Khabib subbing Conor out the way he did wasn't enough. Like, punk ass Dylan Dennis was out there talking shit after seeing Conor McGregor get subbed out. And Khabib said, you know what? You can get it too. I'm still warmed up. So that's when he scaled the cage and went after Dylan Dennis, man. And Khabib just was talking about that situation where he's not going to fight in Las Vegas because they fined that man almost $1 million, man. And they gave him a lengthy suspension. They only fined Conor McGregor something like $50,000. They fined Khabib, I believe, over $500,000, man, of his purse. His purse was like, what, $3 or $4 million? Yeah, man. Yeah. They hit him in the pocket. Don Dollar said, what fight would be best for Stevenson at 130? You talking about he move up? Man, at 130, it all depends, man, because I think I was talking about this the other day. I was like, Stevenson should get an automatic title shot if you move up. You know what I'm saying? He should get an automatic title shot. It depends, man. I like to see Stevenson if he move up. What, Leo Santa Cruz? I mean, look, when you talk about Shakur Stevenson, you got to get somebody that's going to make money with him. You know what I'm saying? You got to get somebody who's going to make money with Stevenson. Some of these fighters, they just can't go up there and fight anybody. It's just not good for their brand, and it's not good for the promoters who are trying to promote them at the top of the chain of command. But I can stop in through the rankings right quick, because the 130 division, man, it's almost like cruiserweight, to be honest. I'm not exaggerating on that either. Like, you got Leo Santa Cruz, right, and Miguel Burchett. But you know, when you talk about these people, even Jamel Herring is legit winning his title. I like what he did against what was the fighter he fought? Masayuki Ito. I love how the way he fought him with that defense and being elusive. But at 130, Jamel Herring would be a good fight. That'd be a tough fight for Shakur Stevenson. Jamel Herring, man, his skill set is tight. He ain't no slouch, man. But I'd rather like see Shakur Stevenson fight Leo Santa Cruz, Joseph Diaz. You know, then you have Tevin Farmer, who's still there at 130, or even JoJo Diaz. You know, if he ever moves up or whatever. But guess what at 130, right? Guess who would be a pretty decent fight for Shakur Stevenson that I just seen? Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert is ranked #1 in the WBA. That'll be a good fight for Shakur Stevenson, man. I know if he fight Masayuki Ito, that'll be a tough fight for Stevenson. It will. It'll be a tough fight. You know, people just can't sit up here and say, "Oh, that's Shakur Stevenson." You gotta understand, the man is still growing into his freaking man strength and his maturation as a fighter. You just can't say he'll sit up here and wipe out everybody at 130. You can't say that. Until he does it, you can't say it. And I'm going into like the top 10 of the 130 division. I'm skipping over everybody outside of the top 10 because besides Masayuki Ito, who fought Jamel Herring, I'd like to see Ito, you know, Farmer, you know, Joseph Diaz versus Shakur Stevenson. JoJo, that'd be a good fight. JoJo's about that smoke, man. JoJo's about that smoke. Chris Colbert, I think he just improved his record to what? What Chris Colbert just improved his record to? I forgot, 13-0, something like that. He's undefeated. But yeah. Leo Santa Cruz, of course, but Leo Santa Cruz, man, he's gonna be like, Shakur Stevenson isn't a big enough name for me to fight. Like, think about that. Like, Gary Russell hasn't even been able to fight Leo Santa Cruz. So there's no way Leo Santa Cruz is just like, hey, Shakur Stevenson, yeah, I do it. He don't see any damn stock in it for him, man. Jason Williams said, going back to the UFC model and why I dislike it. Aldo was a long-time reigning champion, almost a decade. Yep. He lost because Conor shit talked him out of his game. He should have had a rematch. A solid point there, Jason, but the rematch, I'm not sure about. You know why? Because when somebody knocked you out in 13 seconds, regardless of how long you was champion, you know, Dana White, once again, speaking about the president model and UFC structure model and so forth. Dana White, he wasn't too big on Jose Aldo at the time. It was all about Conor McGregor. Everybody was freaking attached and drawn into Conor McGregor, his trash talking, you know, how flamboyant he was. I had to give it up to Conor. His A-level trash talking is some of the best in the UFC, period. Conor McGregor, if he's not the best, He's top freaking 2, 3 of trash talking. So Dana White wouldn't have wanted Jose Aldo, who really don't sell tickets like that. He really don't trash talk or get down dirty like the Diaz brothers. Nah. He really probably didn't want that rematch for Conor McGregor. Being knocked out in 30 seconds, man, Dana was like, nah, I got bigger plans for Conor. See you, I think right now, Jose Aldo is about to drop down to damn bantamweight. He's about to drop down to bantamweight and face Henry Cejudo, man. That shit is wild. And he just came off of fighting Marlon Moraes, and he looked so drawn in, but he made weight, and he looked pretty decent. Don Dawes said, jump off the cage like Jimmy Superfly. Let's not talk about some of the best cage releases. I'm talking about climbing to the top of the cage. Some of the best, Eddie Alvarez and highlight reel Justin Gaethje. When they do that no-hand layout, that backflip off the top of the cage, which they pretty much banned, so to speak. That's one of the best freaking cage flips you'll see in mixed martial arts, man. Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez doing a layout backflip off the top of the cage. Don Dollar say Leo St. Cruz versus Stevenson. Michael Lewis says, exactly. Growing up in the military, I learned early the difference between a tough guy and someone who is really with the shits. There's a serious difference. Most don't understand. I totally agree, man. You have to understand what that really truly means right there, because not every fight is someone you have to engage. Only the ones that that's real, and even then, we're taught to de-escalate. We're taught to de-escalate first. Instead of, if anyone that took up martial arts, they teach you to de-escalate first, not just running in there reckless and freaking losing your mind, because that can lose you the fight. Chris Ray say, please don't take your foot off the gas. World Combat Sports, Smoke Tyson. For sure, man. You know what it's about, Chris. It's not strictly about Tyson Fury. He's just one of the boxers that happen to be in the equation, the media equation, to try to get some clarity as to why no one else is talking about this on the mainstream media. All the new media is talking about it. You know what I'm saying? For real. They making a big point on it. But I don't think the sanctioning bodies, i.e. the WBC, is really going to do anything about it. Nsac has already came back and said they're not doing anything about it. Chris say, blessings, I'm out. I'll stop and hit that like. Hey, appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for dropping in as always, man. Dundallah say, salute fam, hitting the like button. Chris, good looking out. Yeah, that's what I see right there for Shakur Stevenson. Because hopefully he get Josh Warrington, right? That'll be a good fight. Shakur Stevenson, Josh Warrington. I like it. Now, I don't see him fighting Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell said that he's looking to move up to 135. Why 135? Jump roping over 130? He says really nobody at 130 that he wants. The only person that he wanted, Leo Santa Cruz, of course. But Leo Santa Cruz seemed like he was trying to fight Gervonta Davis. Why in the hell Leo Santa Cruz haven't fought freaking Gary Russell yet? Gary Russell has one loss on his record. Come on, man. Why you ain't want to fight my man Gary Russell? And from my understanding, the fight's been presenting itself for the longest of time, right? Why haven't these two fought each other? Why? If you're looking at freaking records, both of these fighters, Gary Russell and Leo Santa Cruz, has only one loss. Leo Santa Cruz came with Carl Frampton, and Gary Russell came via Vasily Lomachenko when they was fighting for the vacant title. But besides that, why haven't these individuals fought one another? That's my biggest question. Shout out to Joshua Greer Jr. too, man. He's at bantamweight division. There's a lot that's going on with the bantamweight division, y'all. I know a lot of people don't talk about the bantamweight at 118. There's a lot going on. You know, from what I understand, Nordine Obali, who defeated Rashid Warren for that vacant WBC title, is set to face Nonito Donaire. Donaire just coming off that hard-fought loss to Naoya Inoue, Monster. Now he's over at the WBC, and he's about to try to fight for the WBC title. That is going to be a good fight. The first time I seen Obali fight was that weekend that he fought Rashid Warren. You know what I'm saying? That was the first time. That was the Broner. I think that was the Broner Pacquiao card. But Joshua Greer Jr., he should be coming up here pretty soon. Chicago's own. Don't blink, Mr. ESPN. He's set to face Jason, I believe Jason Maloney, coming up in his next fight in April. So shout out to Don't Blink, man. Keep doing what you do. Still got support out here. Yeah, but it's a lot going on in the bantamweight division, man. And let's not forget Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux moved down to freaking 118. People's like, what the hell? What is Rigondeaux doing? He moves down and he defeats Solis. You know what I'm saying? Laborio Solis defeated him quite handedly to pick up the title. So is him in Norway going to be next? Rigondeaux in Norway? Norway hosts the WBA and the IBF title, man. That's going to be nice. I like those two matchups. Obali Donaire and in Norway Rigondeaux. I like that. And then, you know, Joshua Greer Jr. is sitting at number 1 for the WBO. I'm really looking forward to seeing him, you know, get that shot. Really. I'm really looking forward to that. DBMA said Garcia versus Davis. I mean, I'm hearing scuttlebutt that potential fight may happen in December. And once again, we have the people up here saying that, you know, Ryan Garcia will defeat Gervonta Davis. And I'm going to tell you like this. I've seen Gervonta fight on several occasions in person, right? You can say what you want. Looking at all the reaction bag drills Ryan Garcia doing, just because he got them knocked out Fonseca with a counter left hook. I get all the freaking flash shit he's doing. You know, stopping Donald. I get it. But listen, Gervonta Davis is a different fighter, man. Gervonta Davis is a different boxer. We're going to have to see how much dog Ryan Garcia truly has inside his, you know, reservoir of fortitude. We're going to have to see that because I'm telling you, man, Gervonta Davis is a freaking honey badger. He's a freaking goddamn Wolverine. He's a damn hyena. Seriously, man. I'm that quick hand shit. You're talking about a championship fight for 12 rounds that Ryan Garcia is going to have to venture into. He's going to have to venture into it with a guy who's a savage. I don't give a fuck what nobody say about Gervonta Davis. He is a person that keeps on coming forward. He can box, and he does have power. Seriously. Forget the fight with him and Yuriorkis Gamboa where he got tired a little bit. The first time he's been that far in the fight, cool. But I'm telling you, Ryan Garcia is going to have some issues, man. I hope the fight happened, but Ryan Garcia is going to have some issues, bro. DBMA say Oscar De La Hoya say he's really pressing for Garcia Davis. I hope so. I hope Gervonta gets a big fight. I hope Ryan Garcia gets the big fight. Seriously. Because the lightweight division is hot right now. The lightweight division is very, very hot right now, man. They have so many damn matchups that can cook. I mean, seriously, you got Devin Haney waiting in the rings as a WBA, the WBC title in recess type shit. And then you got supposedly Luke Cameron, Javier Fortuna fighting for the vacant. Then you got Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko. going down later this in what, in a couple of months. It's so much out there, bro. Patrick said Deontay Wilder interest was epic. Black magic, black everything. Yeah, that suit, man. He said he was trying to basically represent and stand out for Black History Month. I mean, the suit was tight. You know what I'm saying? Eyes glowing and everything. Like, I ain't never seen anything like that. Expect, you know, somewhat like the luchador. You know, in Mexican wrestling, they wear a mask all the time and stuff, and kind of have that same setup. But in my opinion, in boxing, I don't think I've ever seen any outfit, ring attire like that. I don't think I have. AJ says so much evidence of Fury cheating. Haven't even had a proper explanation about his glove. Let me go back over here. About his glove moment to this day. Like I said earlier there, AJ 26, is that Fury is allowing the new media to speak for him. As long as we keep talking for Fury, whether it's good or bad, he's going to remain relevant. That's all. Fury really doesn't want to go out here and open his mouth. You know, the video, let me show y'all the video. Let me show you the video right here, Ben Davison, who he put out. Let me go to it right quick. So this is the video Ben Davison put out. And this is Tyson Fury popping the jab, right? Take a look at that now. This site keep going in and out for no damn reason. I don't know why they cut to advertisement so quickly. Well, anyway, I wanted y'all to see that video because it's Tyson popping the jab out, and it's nothing like the jab that we were seeing on that night. It's nothing like it. Don't worry, YouTube. It's gonna come back around. You know what I'm saying? But that particular one was a news media outlet from over there, the UK or whatever. So Michael Lewis, I don't know if Garcia wants to take Davis' punches. His speed is amazing, but Davis would touch him and test him. I totally agree with that wholeheartedly, because when it comes down to Ryan Garcia, besides Mason Menard, I really want to see what Ryan Garcia has, because you saw him go that long, I believe, with Mason Menard, right? And then Devin Haney. Was it Devin Haney or was it Teofimo? I think it was, I forgot what it was. They might have fought the same coming opponent. You know what I'm saying? But it was completed much quicker, you know? I think Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez got it done way quicker. DBMA say they're hoping Garcia speed negates Gervonta Davis' power. I don't see Garcia beating him. Well, you know what it say about timing and speed. I mean, timing and power. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to Gervonta Davis and his freaking boxing acumen, man, hey, it goes without saying, man. He's a freaking killer in the ring. I don't care if he went 12 rounds with Gamboa. He still stopped Gamboa. He still was throwing with bad intentions in the 12th round. Hands down, period, man. Gervonta was still trying to damn knock Gamboa's head off in the 12th round. He got the stoppage. Hey, what's going on, D Hodges? How you feel, man? He said, what's up on World Combat Sports and the LDBC Salute family? Salute, man. Thanks for dropping in. Don Dada, salute, bro. DBMA says salute, D Hodges. Michael Lewis say, I don't know about the suit. I always liked the Iron Mike in the 80s. He marched to the ring already sweating with a towel or loose sweater, ready to no theater, no oh, okay, I get you. You talking about with Iron Mike. Yeah, Iron Mike had the hole cut out in the towel and everything, kept it simple, basic. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But you know, times has changed though. We can't say every fighter is walking to the ring with a suit on like that. Not every fighter. A lot of fighters don't walk with the ring except with just like a jacket on and trunks. But when you're going for a full blown out suit, yeah, you know, it's gonna have some different weight to it. But of course, it's definitely, I don't see it being too much weight for Deontay Wilder not to be able to make it to from the dressing room to the motherfucking ring. Hold on for a second, y'all. AJ said the UK doesn't want to accept that the Fury situation, even though they saw what they saw. And that goes to show you if the individuals that's in charge there, AJ, they have people in positions that really aren't going to speak up enough because they don't want to lose their job. It's not, you know, it's some people in the UK that's speaking up about it, like some residents. But if you're talking about being in the position of the boxing circle, yeah, you're not going to get people just standing up like you would in the US. Like you heard Steve Cunningham come out. You heard several fighters, Dewey Cooper, You heard several people come over here and talk about this particular incident. Even George Groves. You can't just say it's all black people. You know, even George Groves came out and said something about it. You know, so people in the UK that's associated with the teams, of course, they're not going to come out and really speak up about it. Seriously. Hodges said, and Fury disowned them UK people. He disowned y'all. Yeah, when Fury was a unified champion, they wasn't even showing Fury any love. You know what I'm saying? They really wasn't. They really wasn't showing Fury love like Joshua. Just take a look back when Fury had the titles. They really wasn't showing him that unconditional love like freaking AJ. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't showing Tyson Fury that AJ love, man. And I wanted that you all, the last time we was talking, I wanted that y'all check out the gold medal round for AJ. Did y'all ever check that out? The AJ the gold medal round in the Olympics for AJ, he lost, period. It was the London Olympics, and they freaking gifted him a freaking present. That's all. Lewis say, I know, but it looks crazy when these fighters have suits and dance routines. Like I am an 80s baby who, when I think of Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago. I kind of like if it's just, you know, a jacket and so forth. That's the Apollo Creed and Ivan Drago. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was. Not so much the fighter coming out here with a huge, you know, uniform that's covering the face and all that. But I kind of like it if it's cool. Like Prince Ahmed, you know, Adrian Broner came out. Who else has some classics? It's so many people that has classics, man. It's even been some Mexican fighters who came out with bands and stuff like that. I think it's good entertainment, to be honest. I really think it's good entertainment, man. Michael Lewis said, like when you do all that on your ring walk, you better not get beat up like Adrian Broner did against Marcus Madonna. We got jokes and jokes and jokes. Yeah, man. You know, Adrian Broner to this day, he still get talked about as far as, you know, coming, dancing, you know, doing all that dancing, and then going in there and get worked over by Madonna. People still freaking look at him to this day and be like, man, I mean, I still have to look at it both ways. Yeah, Marcus Madonna put the hands on him, but Adrian Broner not having a full training camp, bullshitting around, touring, he still freaking went to the final bell. He still stayed on his feet. He didn't get stopped. Adrian Broner has never been stopped, y'all. Adrian Broner has never been stopped. Say what you want about him not letting his hands go. Even Manny Pacquiao couldn't stop Adrian Broner. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want. He's never been stopped. Sean Porter couldn't even stop freaking Adrian Broner. And Adrian Broner ended up dropping Sean Porter in like the 12th round, wasn't it? Mikey Garcia couldn't stop Adrian Broner. Come on, man. Like that's why people respect him. He may be accused of not letting his hands go. And I mean, it may be true, all right? But when it comes to not being stopped, he still has some credibility there because no one has been able to do it. Everything will change for Adrian Broner once he stopped. Until then, he's still gonna have like that Mexican respect. Like, man, ain't nobody ever stopped him. They basically gave him a whooping, but they never really stopped him. Jesse Vargas didn't stop him either. The hard to say facts, you got me. Didn't think about that. Rest in peace, Mancho Camacho. Real talk. Rest in peace, Mancho Camacho, as far as being a showman. Yeah, I forgot all about Camacho. Hector, man, he was one of the real showmans. Even Roy Jones Jr. Shout out to the legend Roy Jones Jr., man. He used to come to the ring with some freaking, entertainment, man. And Floyd, he has some solid ring interest too. Well, the Vada has came back. AJ said, we got any info on Furious B sample? The Vada WBC has came back already and said that the test was clean, period. So it's all about the trilogy, man. We seen with the samples for freaking Dillian White disappear. We seen that the glove situation, the glove gate with Dillian White disappeared. Supposedly he didn't even fight in the gloves that they agreed upon. So when it comes down to them making shit pop the way they want to, it's gonna happen in boxing. It's gonna happen, y'all. The Dillian White situation disappeared easily. Easy. Jarrell Miller, I mean, he couldn't make his shit disappear. But guess what? He took his suspension and came back and signed a lucrative deal with Top Rank. That just goes to show you, boxing, it ain't all about morals and principles, man. You get somebody who pop dirty, that ain't shit. That's just like telling a lie. You can go up here and tell a lie, man, and you get rewarded for it if you still have value to whatever it is you are a part of. And that's what Jarrell Miller is. Jarrell Miller is still an intricate heavyweight. He ended up being signed, so hopefully he's able to make that money back he lost when he fell out the fight with Anthony Joshua. And listen, indeed, Jarrell Miller could have been the Andy Ruiz. Jarrell Miller's life could have changed. He could have became the undisputed heavyweight champion. That would have changed Jarrell Miller's whole life. Jarrell lost millions. And you know what I respect most about Jarrell? When I interviewed him and knew it, like I mentioned before, he didn't make any freaking excuses. He said he ain't perfect. He ain't perfect. He said he fucked up. I gotta respect the man for goddamn talking to somebody he ain't met before in his life. He kept it 100, man. He said, I fucked up. I could have dropped a dime on a lot of other people, but I didn't. Gotta respect that man for that shit, man. Michael Lewis said Camacho made the male dress hot. At least he was the first one. I remember seeing him wear that style of trunks. Yeah, Camacho's trunks, man, was crazy. Like they had somewhat like this, what it like a gladiator type cut that was all over the place. It was tailor-made for Camacho, though. He was one of the ones that had the flamboyant, the outlandish ring attire. DBMA said need to go back down to 140, 145 and stay there. I mean, he can't go down to 145 because it's really no division. Like they did a catch weight at 144, him and Jesse Vargas, right? Something like that. Who did he fight at 144? It was like Jesse Vargas, wasn't it? So if you're talking about him going to 140, I seriously think the way he's looking now, like Adrian Broner looks swole right now, man. I don't see him. Man, it's hard, man. I know he ain't making 135. Don't even try it. 140? I don't know, man. Adrian Broner's, he's big right now. Seriously. Adrian Broner, Adrian Broner has to be sitting at around 150, 155. He'd be a junior middleweight. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Broner, I think he's weighing around that right now. There's no way you're going to tell me he's 135, 140. Not right now. He said, I'm referring to Broner. Yeah, like a gladiator. Yeah, Hector Camacho had that type of outfit. But when it comes to Adrian Broner, man, I received word that he was going to be in the ring next month. This was a ways back. And then as months ticked away, and I saw him in two different locations, and he still didn't look like he was in fight camp. I know that's out the window now. And also Adrian Broner, supposedly what's in the media, that he was arrested for freaking a DUI somewhere. I forgot what it was, but he was just arrested for a DUI. And then not only that, the other day he was talking about how TSA violated him, and then he come up and he get arrested for a DUI. Man, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's going on with him, man. DBMA said, yeah, he let go. He about 160 pounds. He's short. Yeah, Adrian Broner's out there. Not only that, you know, for him to get that six pack, I really don't think he's doing no crunches, no setups. He's not doing too much of anything. I can't see him really going to the gym like that, training. I'm not saying he can't box, but dude was eating that freaking what's that cake? That like waffle cake would come with sugar and strawberry. He was tearing that shit up in Nashville. I just don't see him making that 140. 147, yeah, but who would he fight at 147? Because he ain't trying to go up there and get stopped. Who would he fight at 147? It ain't Crawford. It ain't Spence. It's not Pacquiao again. You know what I'm saying? He definitely ain't going to fight Keith Thurman. He's definitely not fighting Keith Thurman. I don't care if Keith Thurman did lose to Manny Pacquiao. Adrian Broner ain't fighting him. DBMA said he keeps getting caught up. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, the streets, man. But he's smart. Adrian Broner's smarter than people think. Don't even get it twisted. He's smarter than what you think. So don't even get that shit twisted. Don't even get that shit twisted. Adrian Broner is indeed more intelligent than people give him credit for when it comes to the street shit. It's just he continues to do what he want to do. Seriously, that's what he is. Hard to say he'll fight him for a TGE bag. What's a TGE bag, man? I can't put that acronym together. I'm trying to think. TGE bag. DBMA say Thurman is calling him out now. That'd be a good fight. I wouldn't want. Listen, Manny Pacquiao defeated Keith Thurman. We know that, right? So for Keith Thurman to go ahead and call out Adrian Broner, I mean, it'll be a good fight. People come see it, even if it's Keith Thurman, because that's the value that Adrian Broner brings to the table. If I was Adrian Broner, I wouldn't take that fight. Not with Keith Thurman. I don't know about that. I don't know. That's not a good fight that I'll suggest for Adrian Broner to take right now. Even though both of them, coming off a loss, of course. But I'm just saying, like, Adrian Broner's been out the ring for over a year, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Broner's been out the ring for a year. Like, I think Adrian Broner's last fight was January of 2019 because I was there. It's been that long, man, that Adrian Broner's been in the ring. Whew. That's crazy, man. Sir Ken, salute, man. Good to see you on deck. Salute to the wrenchers. Salute to the chat. Smash the like button. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. World Combat Sports on the building. Hey, also I wanted to let you all know too that I should be having the fighter that fought on Showtime the other night against Flavio Rodriguez. I'm looking to have Brian Norman on deck this afternoon. So what I'm about to do, I'm gonna get off. I may have him on here around 6. Let me see. I don't really want to give a time because he's in flight. Of course, he just fought last night, but I'm looking forward to having him on so we can kind of talk about how he, in there with a very tough opponent in Rodriguez, and what he learned from being in a fight like that with such aggressive, experienced fighter. He improved his record to 17-0. So it was some solid, good moments in that fight. I mean, I'm talking about they was in the pocket throwing. And it was almost like, the Mexican style fight for both of them in certain points of the fight. But then again, Brian Norman showed that he can box too. But when it came down to Rodriguez, I mean, he was getting off when he had to. It seemed like it took like him for land maybe 2 or 3 shots, like that right hand, and then it would just wake Brian Norman up. He went back to the fights he had in Mexico when you just all out standing in the pocket, banging and banging. You know what I'm saying? You just going to the body, you going to the head, you really digging down. That's what kind of fight it reminded me of, man. It was a good fight. Unfortunately, in the 7th round, I think at 2 minutes, around 2 minutes and 30 seconds, they clashed heads, and it cut freaking Rodriguez, and the referee stopped the fight. Now, once again, me rolling back, I look at the Badou Jack cut, and I said, God damn, look at Badou Jack cut. It was also 12-6. And then I saw Rodriguez cut. It was right up here. It was dripping down in his nose, on his nose and shit. I say, man, did y'all see the Badou Jack cut? Like, that's nothing compared to that cut. And you stopping the fight? I mean, was it supposed to be a no blood type of fight? Like, come on, man. Badou Jack cut was like freaking 2 inches long, it looked like. And that dude was freaking donating to the Red Cross, literally volunteering. Everybody that was ringside, man, was getting a piece of Badou Jack's DNA. You know what I'm saying? But to see Rodriguez, the fight stopped, I was like, man, what's going on with this? Like, the cut was almost center of his forehead, and the blood was just dropping down, on his nose and shit. Anyway, every fight is different. But y'all tune in, man. I'm definitely hoping, Brian Norman keeps the appointment. I'm going to have him on here a little bit later around, either 6:30, 6:15, 6:30, hopefully. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to the assassin, undefeated 17-0-14 knockouts, man. Very entertaining fight last night. He showed a lot of wrinkles to his game, man. He also showed areas where he can improve, actually moving up in the ranks. But overall, he's a solid ass fighter, man. Like his dad used to box. I mean, Brian Norman is a solid dude, man. Like he's a tough man. Goddamn, Rodriguez was landing some right hands, and he was just freaking wasn't even flinching. So he showed he had a chin. You know what I'm saying? He showed he got a chin. And then they was fighting in the arena with hardly no fans. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'm going to jump off here, and I will be back around 6:15, 6:30 with the one and only undefeated Brian Norman, who fought on Showtime last night. He fought Flavio Rodriguez, and a tough, experienced fighter. And he ended up getting the technical decision. I think the scores was 2 judges scored it the same. I forgot what the scores was, but yeah, he won that technical decision. Take it how you can. But people, I'll be back. As always, be sure to follow me, on all social media platforms. You know what it is, man, especially YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. Be back on here a little bit later if y'all got time. I know y'all ain't doing nothing, especially with the COVID-19 that's out there. Y'all ain't going to the club like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not even going to IHOP like that. Hey, especially y'all not going to Golden Corral. I know some people on here that go to Golden Corral every weekend because they say, oh man, take the family out to Golden Corral. And it just save money with everybody going to a buffet, eat all you want. Man, people ain't going to Golden Corral like that right now. You know what I'm saying? Popeye's chicken looking real good right now. But I'll be back later on, y'all. Salute. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.